Order the Custer County Board of Commissioners meeting on Tuesday, February the 7th, 2017. Counselor, would you like to lead us in the pledge, please?
Oh, he's got a horse voice.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Would the clerk call the roll, please?
Commissioner Katnig?
Here.
Commissioner Hood? Here. Commissioner Prince?
Here.
Attorney Clint Smith? Attorney Clint Smith?
Present.
And clerk to the board, Kelly Camper, present.
Okay, do we have any amendments to the agenda today?
Looks like we received a letter from Jerry Pickerel regarding Custer County SAR request for a vehicle to add to their equipment. So they're
Okay, we'll just add that under old, new and old business. SAR request. Do you have anything?
No, sir.
Okay, I have a couple of items, both regarding the wildfire recovery. We have one document here from the NRCS, Natural Resource Conservation Service, called a Wildfire Recovery Plan. And then we've also have got a letter request we need to get into the state ASAP for DOLE funding that would potentially let us buy some monitoring equipment, or access monitoring equipment. Okay, no other additions. I will declare don't have a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, let's go to the audience introduction, please.
John Johnston. Dallas Anderson.
Jackie Bubis for the Sentinel.
Dan Lewis.
Okay. Do we have any public comments from the audience today? Okay, thank you. This time, do we have minutes for approval?
We do not.
Okay. Let's move then into commissioner items. Commissioner Hood.
I just want to say, since our last meeting on Friday, it was nice to receive an update on what the Upper Arkansas COG does via Judy Lonis. It was a very nice presentation that we attended, so happy to get on board with what they're doing there.
Anything else?
Nope.
I'll just reiterate that Ms. Loman was wonderful, very, very educational. Found out about a lot of programs that potentially could be available for Custer County, and I attended that along with you, Bob. I've also attended multiple meetings with department heads that report to me, and I have nothing specific to report on any of that at this moment.
Okay, one of the items that maybe direct to Brenda, have we had anything response from SIPA, the State Internet Portal Authority?
No.
Okay, because we'd sent them a letter requesting some funding to help us do some wiring and stuff here in the building. So.
Yeah, and I did go ahead and apply for a grant, and I have not heard anything about that. So.
Okay.
Their deadline was the 20th.
I've got to look at my calendar here. Oh, let's see. Okay, actually, I guess I met with Cindy Howard. Cindy will be making a presentation tomorrow. We're trying to work on some potential flood plans down through the Wetmore area. We've identified potentially some partners. Paul Sage was also met with us and identified again some other people that may potentially be available to help us with labor and so forth. And some of the groups that Paul mentioned were the Baptist Disaster Relief Service, Team Rubicon, which is a retired military group, looking at other vets maybe helping, the Florence Elks, the Eagles, maybe something the Methodist Church. We're just trying to identify some potential sources of assistance. The issue that we have down there, and I was down again yesterday driving in, we have through Wetmore itself, some places the channel will probably hold a moderate sized flood. Other places it won't. We have places that we have a lot of debris piled up in the channel itself. I actually found one place where a family has built a little brush hut for the kids to play in the middle of the creek. But we feel proactively we need to at least address the possibility of cleaning that out. For disposal of the material, that hasn't proceeded as well as I had hoped. The Forest Service suggested we could burn down around Wetmore, and it doesn't appear to be a possibility at this time. They recommended we haul up to what we call 12 Mile, but going up to 12 Mile is probably a 25-mile drive uphill, and I don't think that's compatible with what we need to do for disposal. I'm going to get a hold of the Pueblo Wood Products and see if they would agree if we come in and pilot someplace, if they would agree to come in in a short time period, chip it, clean it up, and haul it away. So we're still exploring those. Going on up through Greenwood, again yesterday, looking at the creek, looking at the road. There's places we're going to lose road in Greenwood because the creek's right alongside the road, about 1.5 feet lower than the road. But most of these areas, with the exception of one area, I think we can access, the people can get in and out. But the one area that's going to be a problem if we lose it is the bridge that goes up by George Withers's place. They're on the north end of Greenwood. And if we lose that bridge, it's going to cut off those people back behind there. There's another exit out across private land, but it's not a public right-of-way at this time. But again, we're just looking, and I'm talking to people down there. And as an example, one lady I talked to come out and visited, and she said, well, all I have is my Social Security retirement as a widow. And she says, I don't, my son can help, but we need to identify those. Another area that we're concerned with, and this is probably should be maybe even a higher concern, identifying those people who are going to need assistance. We have elderly people there. If we've got to evacuate them, we need to have, if we can, I hope we can have neighbor on neighbor helping each other, kind of a thing, because by the time we get down there with the sheriff vehicle, it may or may not be too late. But if we give the evacuation order, if everybody can help get their neighbors out and get to higher ground, we can avoid loss of life. And that, my first concern is that we not have loss of life. Property can be repaired. The other issue we have the bridge on Highway 96 going across the creek, and just on the east side of the bridge, there's a very real possibility if that bridge gets some debris that the water is going to wash across the road right there in front of the old store. Another bottleneck we have down there is just above the post office. There's another place the creek is fairly narrow and pretty shallow, and that water can also divert across. If that happens, it'll come across into the road, go right down past the post office, and hit the village. Yes, sir.
Do you know if Judy Livengood's going to be involved in anticipating changes in water rights?
At this point, no, because anything like that would be adjudicated.
Okay.
What's going to happen is that we're going to have to, they'll have to be repaired to water diversion structures, and oftentimes on those there's help from the NRCS to work those repairs. I also met yesterday with Beth from NRCS up here at the office, and we have a wildfire protection plan that Yeah, I think that's what it's called. Uh, There will be some monies available to do some of the repairs on private lands. And I've requested that the Soil Conservation District be the administrating agency. If they won't, we have to look at it. But they're meeting on Thursday. We have to have everything done on Friday because that's when the request has to be in. In Fremont County, in a similar situation, the West Fremont Soil Conservation District are the ones who are handling the administration. There's about a 25% fund match on the monies, but that can be made up in labor, volunteers, and so forth. So we're looking at it from that side also. But that's, to me, an issue that we have to do sooner rather than later. Another item that I had, we bought a new truck for Road and Bridge. We had some paperwork issues we had to work through. Those have now been completed. Everything's signed and returned. The truck is insured and may be on the road today. They lost 2 semis this last week, went down. And we're trying to stockpile some gravel from the pits up here down to Wetmore for road resurfacing and so forth. Right along with that, we identified some bags for water diversion. I'm going to guess maybe a 4-foot by 4-foot bag that's about 4 foot tall, and you fill them with gravel in sight, and that acts as a barrier instead of using small bags. And you can kind of see some of this if you remember back to when we had the flooding in Louisiana. They were using helicopters to drop these bags down in. It's something similar to that. But we feel we're going to put something around the library so that we do not run the risk of getting water into that new building. And we're only about 1.5 feet above flood stage. So I think we've got a method to handle that. Cindy's doing some cost checking and so forth. And if we do that, I've talked to Road and Bridge yesterday down there, and then they'll be in a position to haul gravel or help us get the material to fill those bags. I think that's about an update on the fire. Yeah.
On the fire, I just remembered something to add.
Okay, go ahead.
Jay and I were in attendance this past week with the crew down at the Wetmore Community Center, and the building's coming along nicely, but anticipated time of everything being done will be in March, by the end of March. So we'll keep
And I think we had a question maybe from Brenda on where we're going to have our meeting, and I think we need to just do that at the firehouse like we have been. I guess that's it. We have clarified county policy with Road and Bridge so that they understand that we are enforcing our personnel policies, and they've agreed to follow through. Okay, I guess that's all the commissioner items. Attorney items, sir.
The only thing I was going to talk about was getting that truck purchased, that lease agreement straightened out, which you already mentioned. That's what I was working on last week, and that's all taken care of now.
And you're back here because we don't smell good?
I'm back here because I'm doing my Barry White impersonation in a really deep voice. So don't want to infect all of you.
What we did for the rest, I didn't elaborate a lot, but we had some paperwork that wasn't completed accurately, and Clint, at our request, got right in it and went through it and got it fixed and got stuff taken care of. So we signed it yesterday, and
Okay, very good.
the stuff went back, yeah.
The bank was very helpful on that.
Okay, anything else? Okay, let's go into new and old business. Do we have anybody here to address the road signs in the county? I believe what we're talking about in this case, I've got some notes on it here. We have on Whitehagel, I believe that speed limit all across Whitehagel is 35 miles an hour.
Well, actually, this particular item, and we'll address that one tomorrow with Road and Bridge, the Whitehagel and all that good stuff. That's tomorrow.
So we don't have the road signs today?
Well, this one is about, like, in Centennial Ranch, how there are no road signs.
Okay,
And,
okay.
like, something to require everyone to have a road sign.
Where we are, and we talked about it briefly the other day, we've got a bit of a situation, folks. We have an obligation to respond to emergencies. If there's an emergency, I don't care where it is, if we can assist, we have that responsibility, because ultimately safety is one of the things that the commissioners are ultimately responsible for. We have a problem out in Centennial Ranch. As all of you probably know, none of those roads are on the county system. They're all private roads, and they have a private contractor who plows and maintains them. A couple of weeks ago on Monday, it was in the evening when it was snowing and the wind was blowing hard. We had a request that we had a deputy out there that was trying to get to some people that were stuck, and he couldn't get to it, so he called in and requested assistance. We sent a motor grader out there. They plowed in, finally found where they needed to go, plowed out this particular individual, got his trucks unstuck, and so forth. That was on Monday. On Friday morning, I get a call from a road superintendent, and we got another problem because they have a medical emergency out there. So Roger Squire responded, and Rusty Christensen went out, and I went out, and trying to find the roads. There's no road signs left in that subdivision, and we finally found the right road because the fellow who handles our recycling lives out there. We got a hold of him. He come home and showed us how to get into there. But that's something that we need to do. We need to figure out how we're going to mark those roads. I've talked with Shannon, and he's just now coming in about what we can do for emergency responses. So I would open up at this time. Shannon, we're just starting to talk about the roads that aren't marked.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I think your concerns and our concerns of not being able to find residents is of paramount importance, and I absolutely concur with you. The commissioner's duty and responsibility is for the safety as best we can for our citizens. Being a private roads, I think the cost of that should probably be borne by the subdivisions themselves. So a recommendation to the chair that we ask either the presidents of the boards or the boards of the different subdivisions to come in. Let's have a discussion, and let's see what they feel about it. Let's get their input, with ultimately, hopefully there'll be a concurrence that road signs are a safety hazard, and that will be done. So my suggestion would be, let's get the parties involved together, and let's discuss this, and hopefully come to a resolution with everybody involved. Just a recommendation.
Would that be in a meeting or in a workshop?
I think we could either. I would think a workshop would be fine, and as long as we post, and then anybody else has an opportunity to come voice their opinion also.
Mr. Law, would you have any comments?
I'm just wondering if they have any sort of release to the county if they deem not to do that in case of emergency.
Mr. Clinton.
Well, they're private roads, and hi Shannon. The problem we're going to have here, remember the woman that was in here from Centennial Ranch complaining about the homeowners association, the lack of responsibility. I think we're going to run into a real problem with some of these HOAs and POAs. Some of the officers aren't even in the state, they live other places. So I'm not sure what luck we're going to have trying to get everybody together to talk about it, but I also don't know what authority we would have offhand to compel them to put up road signs. They'd have to assess all the property owners there for the cost of doing it, and some people aren't going to want to pay. I think it would be very difficult to enforce it, but we can certainly try to get them all together and tell them, what the requirement is, and that the county is going to insist that there be proper signage on all the roads.
We might have a workshop for those that are available, and those aren't, and we communicate by letter with them.
And that would be fine.
So Clinton, I'm sorry, can I
Shannon.
just follow up?
Sure.
Get something? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
Well, Shannon had asked security. Go ahead.
I was just going to follow up with Clinton. Do you feel that the county does not have the authority to say that private subdivisions, we enact an ordinance that says you must mark your roads? Or do you not know the answer to that?
I would have to look at that. I'm not sure I guess I'd have to take a look. I really can't answer that.
Okay.
And if we have the authority to tell them, you gotta do this in your subdivision, since we didn't accept the roads for maintenance or anything else.
And this would be something maybe we can visit with Jackie and see what, because all the maps that I've seen with subdivisions, the roads are identified by a name,
Right.
but there's no sign to designate that. So maybe there's something there. Yes, sir.
I was only going to add, I know, and I think I mentioned this before, some folks in Centennial Ranch had specifically asked me if I would write a letter to the board that they were going to propose to the board that they put up road signs, because even the residents struggle to find roads in that subdivision, and so I did, and the board basically, yeah, so they and as Mr. Smith had alluded, I know the board for Centennial Ranch, I think like 4 out of the 5 of them don't even live in Colorado. So they have a pretty good gig going on there. I won't go into any more than that, but so Centennial Ranch will be a struggle. I can't speak for the other one because no one's ever brought it to my attention. And I think a lot of those subdivisions do have roads marked, but certainly not all of them. And they're definitely not retro-reflective where you can see them at night. Even in Bull Domingue, where I live, they're not retro-reflective.
I think it was brought up last time by you that we do have GPS coordinates on a lot of this stuff, but to my knowledge, we don't have GPS in the motor graders and the trucks and so forth to access that. How did your deputy find his way out there on the first night? Just kind of knew the country? Or
Well, so he knew the area pretty well, and then dispatch was able to help him just disseminate, and then honestly, I saw the smoke. Once he got close enough, he saw the smoke, and then he just figured out how to get in there from there.
The smoke was a fire.
Yeah.
But
And then, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I'm talking about when he called in, because they had the two
Oh,
trucks.
he bumbled around until he found it. It took him forever. Yeah, when the people were stuck in the snowbank, it took him a long time, and there were 3 of them out there driving around, and they found it just by try this road.
Do we have any authority, Clint, to notify them by certified mail or whatever that we're unable to identify the roads because of the lack of signage, and that this will or may impact our ability to have emergency responses?
We can certainly send a letter out.
Does
to
that
all
do,
of
I mean, but what about legally? How do we, we're stuck with the safety. How do we not respond out there?
Well, I'd have to research that and see whether we can compel them. And I think even if we tell them you're going to have to do it, I mean, it's an HOA, with people that don't live in this state, they're going to say, we're not going to bother trying to collect the money to put up the signs. It would just be very, very difficult.
And I don't know what those total dollars would be. This might be something collectively between sheriff and fire and road and bridge and stuff that we could, and I'm not saying we will, but potentially we could figure out a way to cover that cost maybe. The other thing I'm concerned about, though, is our legality of responding when we say there's an emergency. We were out there trying to find, on that Friday morning, to get in there to plow them out, and Kagan is the one who plows out there, and he was already plowing just to the east of where we were. Can we say, look, that's your private road, you got to get out yourself?
Well, legally, that's it. I mean, people that buy need to know what services are there and what services aren't there. And if they're private roads, if they don't want to accept that risk, I guess they shouldn't be living there. But people move here, and then they want the government to provide everything for them, even though it's not our obligation on all these private subdivisions.
Well, we can't do it.
Right.
If it's an emergency, do we bill them for it?
There's no liability.
No.
We do the best we can.
I heard in this case, and this was just rumor, but I'd heard that, he was going to have the private individual plow them out. It was going to cost too much money, so he said to call the county. Well, from a life standpoint, if we can't get in it, we call a helicopter, I guess. I don't know. Well, let's take this under under consideration for,
Okay, I'll look into it and have some suggestions as to how we might approach it.
Thank you.
yeah. And I'm just concerned that we don't get suckered into it, but I'm also concerned that we don't not follow through on our responsibility ultimately to provide a safety.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Well, something you do have the authority over, and I'm guilty of this one too, but in the county proper that you do have roads, there are a lot of people who don't have addresses, including myself. The 400 block Main Street, there's not one address. UPS, FedEx drivers knocking on doors looking for an address. Is that anything the fire department or the council can?
No, because that's city.
Can you regulate it in the county?
Main Street in Westcliff is city.
I know, but can you regulate it in the county?
I believe we can, and I know that, as an example, at the 9 Health Fair, the fire department is out there selling these neon, those green signs that are about so big with the letters on it. I don't know if we can force anybody to. Brenda, you have any thoughts on that? I thought you were waving at me.
No.
I'm not aware of anything that says people have to post their address at, at their entrance to their property.
But
Yes,
they
sir.
all have one.
Right, they
The
do.
last time we were working on the zoning regs, I seem to remember somewhere in the back of my mind, there is a county requirement for posting addresses out in the county. But I'm sure I'd have to go page by page to find it again if it's really there.
Zoning check for us.
Yeah, I'll take the responsibility of meeting with Ms. Hobby and find out what's going on.
Just something just tells me that it's in there.
I would bet not.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
That's why I
I'll
put
follow
mine
up
up.
with it.
That's a pretty standard zoning, regulation in most towns, is that you have to have an identifier for numerics that has to be such size so that it can be observed from the roadway. That's a pretty typical. Those aren't the exact words, but it has to be visible from the roadway. So that might be something.
The thing that makes that so valuable, if you know the road systems, is say, okay, we're in here 5 miles. I got to look, but we're in here 7. But I think back to your question, John, I think that the city and the towns are the regulatory agencies for identifications. The only difference might be that the fact that we have a state highway going down partway, that would be between the town and the state to identify those.
I just didn't know if it might be a fire department regulation.
But the fire department is not a regulatory agency from addresses, I don't believe.
The fire department is not a regulatory agency at all.
They certainly definitely encourage it.
Okay, anything else on the road signs? All right, let's move on to the underfunded courthouse request for proposals. I requested that we at least generate some lists. We had called the company that did the report the last time around, and I think that Brenda, in our reports here has a, maybe not. Did you got a list, don't you, of potential people to send it to?
Yeah.
And could you maybe refresh my memory on that?
I have,
And for the rest of the board, I think we need to get this going. We need to get a request for proposal out there so we can get the next phase of our underfunded courthouse going, so we can be done with it in time to apply for additional funding and before October.
I actually have numerous, 7, and I did get a request from Griffin Design here in town to be included in that RFP, so.
Do I hear a motion to approve submitting or sending out a request for proposal for the underfunded courthouse?
I'll make that motion to send out, Brenda, that This comes to 8 people total for the underfunded courthouse bid.
And second,
I'll second it.
discussion?
Discussion, sir. We're going to send the same proposal to all 8 people. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to add to that, if I may, we'll send out to the following and anyone else that requests the information, and I'll just read these and I'll give this to you, so you don't have to write them all down. Anderson Hallis Architects, Riley, and that's in Golden. Riley Johnson Architecture in Denver. DLR Group in Colorado Springs. Ben White Architecture in Crested Butte. Anderson Mason Dale Architects in Denver. Matthew Stayus Architects in Breckenridge. Griffin Design in Silver Cliff. And anyone else that contacts us. And I also, a normal procedure is to put a notice in the paper that we're requesting RFPs for the courthouse.
Is there a date?
We'll need to address that. Yeah, we need to. Here we go, Kelly. We need to, do it fairly soon. Yes.
Do you post RFPs on the website as well?
Pardon me?
Do you post RFPs on the website
Yeah.
as well?
Yeah. The places this is a legal notice, so every place we normally post a legal notice, it'll be posted. But specifically, we'll send letters to these that we have as potential.
Interested parties.
And just to let you know, a lot of those we got from, who was it that sent us that?
Anderson.
It was someone in the underfunded court.
Oh, that's right.
Miss
Yes,
Rhoda.
it was. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Lisa
Yeah.
wrote.
Yeah.
So, it's a somewhat of a specialized kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And, but this, I think, in terms of us doing it, is adequate. Now, we need probably, a 2 weeks reply for
At least, yeah.
info. And then I believe in the past, we've also made available to them a CD or a flash drive that had this other report on it.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
they've got a basis to start from.
Yeah, and I can email that to them too, because I have a compressed file that Anderson Hallis sent us, so.
Shannon,
Suggestion.
the door needs to be open.
Before you send what Anderson sent, I'm concerned there may be some copyright issues there. You might want to run that by Clint just to make sure that it's acceptable to send someone else's work product to the
I
rest of
believe we
It's-
own that, don't we?
We own the file because we paid for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we paid $14,000 for that deal. Yes.
Is there a policy in place to, for lack of a better word, favor in-county bids rather than out-of-county bids on anything?
I can't quote you the policy. My understanding is we do have the leeway within reason to favor well, 2 things. First of all, it depends on the price
Well, of course.
and then their abilities. I mean, we don't necessarily have to take the lowest price on a bid. We take the one we think will do the best job.
There's the purchasing policy is
Yeah.
on the website.
But is there something favoring in-county businesses?
I can't say
There
that.
is some
I just
language
noted
in
it.
the purchasing policy that we should, if at all possible, try to go with local businesses.
Thank you.
I do know though that the list that Ms. Rose sent, though, the 7, those agencies all specialize in courtrooms, judicial buildings, jail complexes, because there is a certain niche in that, and so you need to have some operational understanding of how those function, because otherwise you get non-functional results.
Could maybe, Brenda, we pull up for tomorrow's meeting, maybe what we sent out last year for the RFP for that initial study, see how we worded it, and see what else we need to word in here so that we're meeting the language. Because this is probably why we called Anderson earlier, was to be sure we had the right language.
Yeah, all we had was last year's, and we need to modify it to fit it to what we're asking for this year, so. And I believe Lisa and Anderson Hallis also provided some input on that I had forwarded to you all via email, so
Okay.
I can print out all that stuff for tomorrow too.
This
if
is,
you'd like.
who's this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So, excuse me just a moment here. Oh, you've already drafted something.
Yeah.
Hot dog.
Well, that's last year's, right?
This is last year's, but you had marked it up for updating.
Right. That's what Will Squire had marked, so.
Okay, we will, with no opposition, we will take this up again tomorrow under no business.
We have a motion on the floor. Should we vote on it?
Okay, yeah, would you repeat the motion, please?
It was a motion to send out the RFPs.
To the 8 people.
And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you, sir. I got down in the weeds and forgot. I lost track of the scenery.
I was trying to politely remind you.
Sorry about that.
No problem. You.
All right, we'll move on now to staff reports unless we have anything else to address on this. Shannon, will you be back tomorrow when we talk with Road and Bridge so we can talk about those speed limit signs?
Yeah, that was the plan, yes, sir.
Bingo. Thank you very much.
Bet.
The first one I have is airport. Dallas, if you join us, please. And Bob?
I'm moving kind of slow.
You are slow.
Good morning, sir. How are you, my friend? Please have a seat.
Good morning.
Donna.
Hello, Bob. Good to see you.
Good morning, Donna.
Good morning.
We went to the winter conference in Denver, and I came back with the creek and crud or whatever it was.
So maybe we should ask who is well in this room. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
This is just our normal monthly fuel report. Kelly, you want one? Sure, might as well.
Yeah, and we do have this, a new policy for those, I think everyone's aware of it, but we've asked that our department submit to us a written report a few days before the meeting so we have time to review it.
Okay.
And in here, I fully agree with a couple of the items that we're concerned about, but let's go on through with what you have.
I lost my monthly report.
I got a copy. You need it? Oh, I don't have it on my. Sorry.
What did I do with that? Well, you've got it right there. Oh, here it is. No, it's not. Here.
Winging.
Wing it. Okay. Just real quickly. We held our monthly meeting January 19th, 2017. We had 4 members present. Bill Geipel, Trey, and Karen Croskell were in attendance as audience. We had no minutes to approve. The fuel report is in front of you. For January, we sold 107 gallons is all. And there's 2,021 gallons in the tank at the end of the month. Now, the good part. January 23rd and 24th, Bob Jolly and I attended the Colorado Airport Operators Association Winter Conference, and there was 5 really important things that happened. We got an update from CDOT Aeronautics Board about the discretionary grants, and they have pushed their timeline on into the future. 2019, they're projecting a zero balance. And what that means is, from that point, all their resource or their income revenues will be used to build a contingency fund. They're going to go to, I believe it was 3.8 million, they said, in the contingency fund. After that's achieved, then future revenues will be stockpiled for the discretionary grants, such as the one that we want to get for the AWS system. And they're projecting to let those grants in 2021.
So in 2021, we will have new funding available.
At the earliest.
Yeah, but that's
what they're projecting. So that's just the gist of that update about the grants. We'll just have to sit around and watch what fuel prices do. Their funding, of course, comes from taxes on jet fuel, mostly from DIA. We met the new FAA Mountain Region Administrator. Her name is Casey Yanamura. She seems to be quite knowledgeable, and she's got lots of experience in airport administration and the FAA itself. Her home office is in Renton, Washington. She covers a 7-state area. But she's a really nice woman, and had a good conversation with her. Number 3, we met the new USDA Regional Director, Ms. Emily Blizzard. I've been in contact with her by email twice since the conference. She's going to set up a meeting with us, probably April maybe. Through her, we will be able to get funding for prairie dog control. Also found out that someone at the airport has to have a yearly it's yearly training on wildlife control for airports. And we've got the deer and the elk and the antelope crossing the runways out there all the time. And so she'll be helping us with that also to get that yearly
Is this something to be
training.
done online?
She didn't say, and I didn't think to ask. Okay, number 4. This is the real important one, and it's going to take us some time. We met with Linda Bruce. She is the FAA state planner, to revisit the possibility of us getting Silver West into the National Plan of Integrated Airport Systems. They call it NIPIAS.
What does that mean? I mean, what would happen if
Well,
that occurred?
The one thing that puts stars in our eyes is once an airport is accepted into the NIPIAS system, there's a yearly stipend of upwards of $150,000, a 10% match on that, for airport operation, improvement, anything that needs to be done at the airport. I had 2 meetings online with Linda since the conference, and there's a list, at least 40 items that must be met before the FAA will accept an airport into the system. 30 of those are fairly minor, but there's 10 items that are very, very important. And one of them will concern our runway, and we will have to get a fairly strong letter of recommendation from the State Aeronautics Board about our airport being too close to the road. If everything can come together, the FAA would supply the funds to move the airport. But it's going to take a pile of paperwork and a heck of a lot of hours of work to get to that point.
The airport runway.
The airport runway.
Okay, I was going to say, why do we need to move the airport?
Move the runway, I'm sorry. Thanks, Bob.
But initially wasn't what we use as a runway designed as a taxiway?
Yes.
Yes.
And where the original runway was proposed, would that be far enough to meet the requirements?
Yes.
It would be. And at today's prices, building a new runway further east would...
Further west.
Or west. No, east.
East.
Somewhere in the neighborhood of $3 million. I was talking to a contractor after you left, actually, and they figure that a 60-foot runway, a mile long, is about $3 million for that mile. But this is stuff that's out in the future. We may not get through all of the addressing all the requirements by August or September, because I'm also working on another requirement.
I'm going to stop you just a second.
Yeah, sure.
For the new runway, what they would pay for it, all of it? We have to have some match monies. What was the...
As it was implied to me, if the FAA accepted the airport on the provision of moving the runway, the FAA would pay for the runway. Our match would be something like $15,000, but that comes under a different heading of stipend money. It could possibly be a block grant for the runway to bring the whole airport up to the standard for NIPIUS. Like I say, it's going to take a lot of digging and stuff. So
I think for the future of the county, it's worth at least trying to look into it.
Yeah.
Because if we could get that runway if we could get FAA to agree with us on the runway's acceptability, then we're talking about a pretty good stipend every year. And that would help us not only improve safety, but improve the airport in general and bring business into the county.
That list of 40 that you're discussing, do you have that list of 40 items?
No, I do not. And
I'd like to see it when you get it.
I'll start feeding that to you as a board in future meetings. All those requirements are scattered through 3 very large chapters of the FAA regulations, and they're just piecemeal all the way through that
I
thing.
recommend that you go through our commissioner responsible for the airport and coordinate with him and stuff. And
That's where we're going.
that's the cleanest way to do it.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a dream that has been held by several people for many years before I even got involved with the airport, and so.
I'd like to not just be informed, I'd like to assist you in any way I can.
Oh, sure, absolutely. So anyway, that's a big bright idea, and it's possibility. It's just going to take some work.
You don't try, you get
Okay. Number 5, we learned about HB 17-1070, and what that is a study of drone use. The legislature is tasking the safety agencies in the state to study the feasibility of using unmanned aircraft for their official use, such as photographing burn areas and that sort of thing, or floods, or that kind of thing. So that's just a heads up information that that is coming through the legislature, and they're looking towards using that. Also, Bruce Getz, he's the Denver Director of Airfield Operations at DIA. He stood and talked for 45 minutes about how unmanned aircraft are causing dangerous conditions around DIA and other airports in Colorado. That brought to mind our proposal for model airplane use at the airport, and I think we as an airport advisory board needs to talk that over some more.
My main
I was going to say, don't we, right now we currently have a 5-mile radius.
Right, that is correct.
Do you think that's large enough?
I think the 5-mile radius is far enough. The problem we have, or it's not a problem yet, we have a suggestion by some people who want to use radio-controlled aircraft in and around the airport. And what the director was saying was they allowed no UAVs in their airspace. And that brought into my mind our liability at the airport and the insurance. The people who fly radio-controlled aircraft are required, that are licensed, are required to have $1 million worth of insurance. The problem is, if they hit a hangar, $1 million liability wouldn't be an issue. They've got the insurance. The problem is when a Falker comes into the airport, if they were to fly into an engine and take that engine out, now we're talking major money. I mean, really big bucks. And I don't think their liability insurance would cover a portion of it, but then who's responsible for the rest of it? And it would probably be the county.
Right. As it comes out, the FAA requires no model airplanes, unmanned aircraft, within 5 nautical miles of an airport.
The center of the runway.
The center of the runway. In special cases, such as Fremont County, they allow model airplanes to fly off their south of their runway. It's about a half mile south, and they've got some real strict rules and regs about that. Anytime those people are going to fly, they have to notify the FAA that they'll be flying in that proximity. If we allow people to use the runway, it would be their responsibility to notify the FAA anytime they're going to fly. And we've gotten 2 pilots already that have voiced an opposition to us allowing model airplanes out there.
Dennis, I know that previous commissioners authorized this, but can I ask you and your board, advisory board, to get back to us and tell us what you feel the proper way to handle this is,
Okay.
up to and including rescinding that authorization if you feel that that's appropriate. I don't want to suggest that. I just want you to, like you know the airport, you know how it works. I know you, from my meetings with you, I know you have to have anybody who flies an airplane has to have a radio so they know if a plane's coming in, that kind of thing. But I share your concerns that you're talking about, and I would really like you, as the people who know, to come back and respond to us what you feel the proper way to handle
I
this.
think a different way. You're the one responsible for it, so you work with them and they respond to you. You work out all the
Right,
details,
we can do that.
and then it comes
They,
back to us.
Yeah, that approval has not been
That's right.
made yet.
The other thing that I'm concerned with, excuse me, you got some more?
I thought it was in the minutes from a previous meeting that
No.
they authorized this. Is that not correct?
There's a proposal.
We authorized you to continue to finish
Right.
up your proposal for safety.
Okay.
Two things. This was brought forth that we're trying to increase the use and the interest in flying and so forth, was one of the reasons we brought that forward.
Correct.
The first concern I have, I appreciate Bruce Getz and his concerns, but we in no way represent DIA. I mean, in terms of all the commercial flights and everything in there. I mean, it's a whole different traffic, everything.
Right.
But we do somewhat resemble Fremont County.
Mhm.
And I still lean kind of towards the point that if we can do something along the Fremont County line to encourage model airplanes and stuff, I think it would be another opportunity for recreation and things in the county to do.
I agree with that. The difference is, there is a big difference, and there is an FAA requirement also for anybody who's flying UAVs of any type to notify the airport manager. Fremont County is manned. We are not. So the airport manager, if I'm the airport manager, I've got the ability to communicate with incoming traffic. If I'm not in town, there's nobody else around.
I think that's fairly simple. If they don't get the authority to use it, they just don't use it.
Mhm.
Yep.
If we're not available, we can't do it. Donna.
Does Fremont have lights?
Yes.
Thank you.
Anyway, I just, that,
But that's
he
committee
made,
work.
he made such an impression on me during his speech that, but we're going to have to revisit that. Okay, right quick. I'd like to mention our projects for 2017, and I have questions also. When we get spring and it's not going to snow anymore, and you're going to inspect the runway and see if we need to revisit crack seal. We've got half of the crack seal material that was used last year, and it's sitting out there. We probably wouldn't have to buy any more. And we want to replace the fuel dispenser this year. Question. Will we need to let bids for that? Does the county have a purchasing agent that we could talk to learn how to do this kind of thing?
I'll tell you, I'll work with you on that.
Oh, okay.
I'll get the information, I'll find out how it's done, and I'll get back with you on the proper method of putting down for bid to do that.
Because
And the other thing, Donna is the one who's responsible from the financial end and stuff. So purchasing falls under her bailiwick.
okay.
When are you planning on doing that soon or just within the next?
Well, if we need to let bids, we want to do it pretty quick.
Okay.
And we have four companies on file that can do that job. So we're not at at a loss to try to find somebody to, give us a bid.
I'll get back with you very
So-
quickly in terms of what's the methodology.
Yeah, and in terms of policy, this is no different than the truck we just went through.
I understand.
Yeah, so we just need assistance with that.
I'll be happy to help you.
Okay.
Dallas, when you were bringing up the crack and seal, are you looking for our direction to schedule Road and Bridge to help you with that?
Not unless we need to do it again. And like I say, when we get to spring and there won't be any more snow and stuff, we'll inspect the runway and see if any of the cracks need to be worked on again. Hopefully not, because after they finished that, I looked at their work and they did a bang-up job. I thought it was really fantastic. So, and with that in mind, you were on the board last year when I brought up the Say Weather system, and we got a bid for the parts we need for that at just short of $3,000. If we don't have to buy any more crack seal material, and we won't know that until April, May sometime, we would like to use some of the crack seal funds that have been budgeted to pay for the Say Weather system.
And again,
So
all that goes to him.
I'll brief you on that also.
Yeah, we talked about the meeting, but I'll be happy to work further with you.
Okay.
Let's set up a time when you and I can get together.
Sure.
Now, this is the one where you can call in and get the information,
That's correct.
as I recall.
Yes, it
So it basically gives us a weather station at the airport.
That's
right, a verbal weather station. The pilot he clicks his mic 4 times and it turns that system on at the airport, and it verbalizes the weather from the weather station that we already have there. There's only 4 pieces that we'd have to buy to put that into operation, and we can install it. It's just a matter of plugging
that's-
things in.
I'll work with you.
Let's move along.
Yeah.
We got
the biggest issue is barometric pressure because of the differences in altitude.
Well, that's been reset.
I know,
I would-
but I'm talking about for pilots who are flying.
We'll work on that.
what else?
One other little thing.
As long as it's
Yeah.
little.
December 13th,
Oh yeah.
we had our every 3-year pressure check done on our system, and we're good to go for our next year's above ground storage tank report to the state. So that's done and complete.
And we were good.
Yes, sir,
Yeah.
we passed. It took a while. Took them 8 tries, but we got
But
it.
you failed 7 times and passed on the 8th?
That's right.
I didn't need to know that.
Onlyest thing about that is
Pass.
we were charged almost $300 more than what we had budgeted for that. So when you see it come up on your reports at $600 and some instead of $350,
The
We'll
majority,
just cut you someplace later.
the majority of that was
it was travel.
the guy who did the work, which is the same person we had last year. I mean, the last time it was done 3 years ago. This time he charged us $1.70 a mile to come from Aurora. 332 miles round trip.
What'd he come in?
Something that cost $1.70 a
He
mile.
was driving a Humvee.
Anyway, just a heads
Okay,
up
is that-
on that.
Before you break, I had a question.
I'll talk to you.
You okay? Before we break up, I want to go a little farther.
Okay.
You brought some things to us meeting ago on some policy and stuff about the price of fuel and some of these things.
Right, yeah, just questions.
Wondering if we were going to have any changes in policy.
We haven't worked it out yet.
Pardon me?
We've discussed it, we haven't worked out a solution yet, but when we have some, we'll bring it to the board.
Okay.
Are you going to bring it up at the airport board?
No, I'm going to bring it up at the meeting we have.
Okay, good.
Kind of advised me.
Another response, we were continuing concerns about the runway. I talked to the road assistant road supervisors, and as I walked out of the office last week, understanding is that will be plowed when they plow that bus route. And then you may have to take your pickup and go out and your plow and clean up if there's anything left. But the point is, it won't be 3 or 4 days later when we plow that route. That's the end of the route, so he comes in and he's supposed to go in and plow the runway. So I need to know if that doesn't happen.
That will work perfect.
As road and bridge.
Yeah, well, if it snows good and hard on Thursday night, his next plow on that route would be on Monday, which is Friday, Saturday.
Well,
and if that's the case, unless you're willing to pay overtime for them to come out,
we'll take care of it.
But we're working on that, okay?
Okay.
Anything else? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Bob, thank you.
Nice to see you.
My friend,
Thanks.
thank you.
I'll be in contact with you in a day or two.
Okay.
Very soon. Within the next couple of days.
Send me an email, because my phone is...
Got it. Thank you,
Piece
sir.
of garbage.
Yeah, I'm going to have to talk to West Kelly again.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
are we clear? You feel comfortable where we are?
Yep.
I went, when I could, I tried to go to about every meeting out there, and then Dallas and I would just talk on the phone.
Always welcome.
Next we do have Human Resource and Finance. Good morning, Dawn.
Morning, how are you guys?
Good.
How are you? Nice to see you again.
Do you have a question?
Good morning.
I do have checks.
Now, I signed a check the other day for Human Services. Did you get a report or whatever we need to do?
I did get the voucher that
That's what,
had
okay,
that on
you
it.
got what you needed, okay. Go ahead.
I have nothing, as usual. Most everything is already old news by the time I come here. Brenda had forwarded a message from Kathy White, and actually I copied you guys on that I had told her I would love to have the questions for the interviews for public health. But I needed, did you want that posted statewide? She said she had that option to do that, and I would send that to her.
You had it from who?
Brenda had forwarded a message from Kathy White.
Oh, Wise.
White.
Right, I thought you said Rice, and I was getting them.
Going, what do they have to do with nursing?
Right, that was, okay.
On there.
Go ahead, I'm sorry to interrupt.
On there. But they said their office works with local public health agency and provides resources and support for local public health directors. They have a number of tools, public health director minimum qualifications, information, interview questions, and they can post a job description statewide. And so,
I think you should.
On there. So I will send
I'm absolutely in favor of going statewide.
Okay. I will forward that to her, and I did ask for at least the minimum.
Whoa. What do we, I think we need to discuss it, it's not just bail. Okay, as personnel, you want to advertise it statewide?
Yes.
Okay, what about the fact we're advertising it locally already?
We have it local. I just think, to me, the more the merrier.
Do we have to change the deadlines?
Actually, it's going to be almost simultaneously because it will not be in the papers here till Thursday, Friday, and then Thursday, Friday.
Okay, just so we don't, I'm after
it
that we
will
don't
be-
have a
yeah.
delay in it.
Yeah, it will be, and the closing is on the 22nd. So it'll be, I mean, perfect timing on her email.
Right. Have you heard back from Bill Sutton?
I did.
Because last week he said he had never gotten all that
And
information.
then he did find it where he had, and the only reason I knew is because the first time I had referenced you, the second time,
Yeah, we talk about that on our personnel thing. Or don't go too far here so we don't get
Yeah,
into.
I won't.
and I had referenced Bob the second time, so when he replied, it was with you, so I knew that had been the one that, on the same day that I had sent all of yours. But he had been out of town, as we knew, and he had just missed it.
Okay.
What we're referring to, as part of our policy, we've asked the workforce to review their applications we had and to see if what they're, based on what we had in the job description, that this gives them something they routinely do. Okay, your turn.
Going too far on this, but I mean, I agree with Don. I was just going to say, I think the more people that have an opportunity to see a job, we don't know if there's someone in Greeley, for example, who's always wanted to move here, and here's their perfect opportunity. I didn't mean to carry that too far,
No,
but I
that's
agree with Don.
perfect.
Did we do it by motion last time on where we were going to advertise?
I believe so. You told me to post it. I
will
don't.
entertain a motion that we advertise this. Or I'll make the motion that we advertise the nursing positions.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Same sign, no? Motion passed. Thank you. What else?
Coffee for
I would like the minutes to reflect the extra effort that Donna Hobby went to help us finalize the purchase of the semi in conjunction with the extra effort that Clint Smith put in. As we express our appreciation.
Just a tool that we may need this afternoon, the questions. I haven't gotten a copy of those.
And I made copies, put a sheet behind, I typed them up,
So you
put a
have that.
sheet behind it and the schedule that everyone could have so someone didn't get mixed up. And I thought about sending them, but then I thought, would I make second copies? So I just, if you would like them beforehand, I will.
Just so we are in sync
Okay.
with what we're doing.
I'll bring them back in a little bit and then you'll have them ahead of time.
I'd just like to reiterate what Bob just said. Thank you so much for the extra effort. And Mr. Smith, thank you both for the over and above beyond what would normally be expected. It's very professional with you, and I thank you.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Donna. I will be back and bring those sheets.
Treasurer, you want to give her a holler?
Yep.
Thanks.
See you later.
The exercise.
Yep.
I'm not pushing that chair in.
Well, we've got a moment here. This is a discussion visit. We had this drone study by the public safety agencies where the FAA is wanting, or the General Assembly has got a bill in place for the Colorado Department of Wildfire Prevention and Control. As we go through their programs, I don't know if it specifically identifies a drone, but they have complete control over the airspace, who enters the airspace and so forth. So it's already, from the fire side, they've already got that in place.
Good.
Oh,
How are you?
good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Let's see. So here's the sign. Okay. I don't have to copy them anymore?
Brenda sent them to us, so I copied. Might as well save a tree. Brenda's on top of it. Not even
You
me.
don't need it. Geez, I'll quit making them then.
Yeah, I got this one right here. All right. What do you have for us?
Well, after that transfer, we barely made it in County General, so hopefully this month we'll have.
Oh, we got a little close, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. You just never know. It's all a guesstimate.
Yeah. Do you have any questions, Donna?
Could you just do a general explanation of how you report here?
This is your current tax. And if we had delinquent tax, it'd be in the delinquent with the interest. Specific ownership tax is what's collected through for the clerk's office, cars, and miscellaneous. Receipts of that's stuff that we receipted from other entities. Say, County General has nursing in it, landfill. I don't know. There's so numerous to list.
Would this reflect sheriff's? I mean,
Yes.
the court fines and stuff? Okay.
You have traffic fines, or the 1, 2, 3, 4,
Oh, I
5
see it.
down.
Yep, I see it. Yep.
Now there's sheriff that goes into county general that is not traffic fines. It's two different things. Sheriff is another. Some of their stuff goes into just county general. Then you have disbursements. That's the warrants that are paid out. We have treasurer's fees. That's my fee for taking care of their books. Transfers and miscellaneous, and that could be, you see that 40,000 I asked for. That's what those are.
That's the one number that stuck out. That I
Yeah,
think was a
kind of
really-
yelled at you.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Down on the bottom, you had the bank balance. Then you had the cash that we had in house at the time. Our investments is our Collar Trust money, petty cash. That's my petty cash for the public trustee, and then the total of all that together.
Thank you.
Oh, where's your petty cash?
It's
Oh, I see down at the
PT
bottom.
petty cash 500.
Mine's got a green marker on it. Yeah. I see. Okay, so we have today, as of the 31st of January, we had $5,222,000 available for to spend.
Not really available to spend because some of that you can't spend. It's
Well, excuse me, available for assets. So, now, that was up $500,000 from the 1st of January.
I don't ever look at those.
Well, what's this beginning balance? Is that of the month?
Yes, I see what you're saying. Yep, beginning balance.
So the beginning balance in January 1 was
47.
4.7, and on January 31, it was 5.2.
And that a lot of that could be just because we did tax collections.
What about, when do we expect our next monies from the Conservation Trust?
That's a quarterly payment, so I think we got some in December, if I remember right. So we'll get another one in the quarter.
So you show that we received $17,000 in January from the Conservation Trust.
That's odd. That's the line down, I believe.
Yeah, there's Conservation Trust is $31,711.95.
That was the beginning balance.
That's the ending balance also.
And then you show that we received $17,360.
No,
That's the next line down.
That's various
The next
auto.
line down.
That's various auto tax.
My apologies. So we're expecting someplace around $7,000. Okay.
That's usually what it comes to.
And our balance now, does this reflect the disbursements in January?
No, that hasn't come through yet.
Okay.
There's about 18,100 that we dispersed at the end of January.
So we will still have about 13,000 left. And we had a request from Saddletop for the 5,000, I think. And that has not been made, but could be made. Okay. Thank you. That was where I was going to see if we still had money to operate.
And I give Brenda a report so she can keep track of that.
Yeah. That's what she's been filling me in on, but we had this other one come in last week or two. And,
Yeah, and we used to do that. Donna would, one year they got in trouble, put out too much more than we had in our account, and so Donna had to hold the checks until we had that money in there to pay for it.
I just have a question. more than 2/3 down, what is M initial, V initial, L initial?
Motor V. That's an in and out account.
Okay.
We have to keep it in there. You'll see it's various. There's grazing is another one. Treasurer's fees. Am I going crossways right? There'll be several that are in and out accounts that always carry a zero, but we have to have them in there so we can put it in and then it goes back out.
Now, we have an emergency reserve fund. What are the limitations on that?
You'd have to ask John. That's his department.
Okay. We need to remind me to follow up because we have to have some cash in Wetmore for flooding. This might be where we have to look at some of it.
Mr. I have two questions. One is, what are redemptions?
Those are, we have a tax lien sale, and when they redeem the taxes,
I got it.
That's their redemptions.
And the second one's kind of just a global question. Is there any anomalies in here that someone who's not used to seeing it on a month-to-month basis that should jump out at me?
No, these are all pretty, this is every month thing. Advanced tax is one 6579 that I would like to get rid of because we no longer do advanced tax. I talked to the auditors about that and they said we could transfer that to county general. Just haven't done it yet. Also, sales tax is another one we no longer, that's when Road and Bridge sold a pipe and we had to pay sales tax on it. We no longer do that. And that's another account I would like to just get rid of because we no longer have need of it. And that's another thing I talked to the auditors about.
Let's do that.
Okay. And I'll get a paperwork set up for that then. And then the other one that I wanted to get rid of, but I'm not allowed to, is that community development fund. It has 175054 in it. That was something that was from a long time ago, and I asked the auditors if we could do the same thing with that, and they said no, that has to be used for what it was specifically set up for. And it was so long ago I can't find out.
So potentially where it's identified as a community development fund, that potentially might be used for membership or something for community development.
I don't think so. What I found, I can bring it to you and you can look at it. The little paperwork that I have, it shows a person was loaned money to fix something on their house, I'm thinking, and then they had to pay that back. That's all you could see on that.
You two worked that out.
But the auditor said that you could not move it. You could spend it on what it was initially fixed for. Now, Kit was going to, he knew someone in the community development area, and he was going to ask them, but I never did get anything from him. So it's so old. I called around and tried to get some information, and nobody's around that used to deal with it. So I don't know. It's a good question on that one, but
you're saying the auditors are saying you can't touch it.
You can't. Well, not. You can touch it, but you have to use it for what it originally was made for.
Okay. Thank you.
Whatever that is.
Do we have any other questions?
I appreciate the work. Thank you.
If not, I'll make a motion that we accept the treasurer's report as presented.
I'll second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Same sign. Motion passed.
Can I ask a question, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, well,
do we need a motion to remove the accounts that Mr. Heo is suggesting that we remove, that the auditors approve?
You asked, do we need a motion to move these accounts?
Yeah, the ones that Mr. Heo a couple of minutes ago suggested that we don't need anymore.
Well, she's going to bring that to us at the next meeting.
Okay.
If that's
I'll
as
bring
a
you.
point of item and what you want.
What it's going to be is in a form of a transfer.
Perfect.
Transfer out of this account into county general. So that's so there should be no question about it.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else for us?
No.
Well, thank you very much.
Virginia.
You ready for me?
If you would like to come forward, or we can take a 5-minute break. Would you guys like a break? Or are you doing all right?
I'm okay.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Morning.
This is new.
Hmm?
It's very nice.
Yeah, this is what happens when you have a woman on the board. Strike that for the minutes.
No recording, right? Okay.
Excuse me, I guess I just want to caution here, if she wants to bring up a personnel issue, you know, there was a letter from her, we need to do that in executive session.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. I guess we'll just go ahead and start with the report first for the planning outline. Have y'all had a chance to take a look at it? Do you have any questions on this? I don't know if it's clear as mud.
Sorry.
You're fine.
What is MAWPP? What is ESF11? Office of Training on the 4-H. What office are we talking about? And those are my questions.
Okay.
You have to go through your report. Thank you.
No problem. Yeah, I sent you this. Did I send you that one, or because I printed out extra copies? I think.
Planning outline.
Yeah. Okay. This is just a schedule of events. It mimics the outline. Let's see. Thank you. Yes. Okay. You're welcome. All right. The MAWPP is the Middle Arkansas Wildfire Protection Program.
Wildfire Protection Program.
Right.
That's the MWAP.
Yeah. So it's a regional group that gets together and pretty much goes over resources, things that are coming up. How can we help you to help us, kind of a thing. They met on the 26th, and they are a good group, a well-rounded group of people from different fire areas and agencies. So it helps to. Oh, I was just going to say it helps to bring these people together to talk about what's happening in our region. Since fire has no boundaries, we're looking at how can we all help each other with these processes. Did you want to add to that?
And we'll have a more complete report tomorrow from Donna. I mean, from
Cindy.
Cindy.
Okay.
And that was a good meeting. I was there. You were there. I don't remember. What one did you guys go to? Were you sat in the back? Which meeting was that? Was that the wildfire protection? That was the state one?
Homeland Security led that.
Was that the state plan?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, that might have been the OEC.
That's the Custer County Wildfire Protection Plan.
Okay.
We'll get that tomorrow, but it's the state plan that we just had a very minor updates on.
Oh, okay.
The one that Paul LaBianco.
Okay. Right.
Help me out.
Yeah, it's right there.
LaBianca.
Yes.
Pretty close.
Joe.
For a German tongue, that's pretty close.
Okay. So yeah, that's about it. So working together in tandem with all of these agencies and making sure that we're all on the same page, that everybody is in the know, and that way there's no crossover and there's not someone out there who feels like, I'm completely lost in this whole process. So it's just close collaboration.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, you asked about
ESF. I worked on ESF 11.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Emergency support function. So again, with Cindy, we're planning for the emergency support. I didn't bring that file with me, but that is basically the 11 is agriculture, livestock evacuation type of deal. ESF 6 is pet and people.
We have. I think there are 16 action plans in this emergency outline, and each of these are identified by a number.
Right.
And the ESF 11 is that particular one.
Yes. Yeah. So so Cindy has asked me to do the ESF 11s, and normally it's in a lot of counties. Well, and even in the state plan, it's CSU is the one for contact. So extension office.
Is this the livestock rescue?
Yes.
I think and we've got questions in there. One of the things that I think we need to address in this plan, we have no biosecurity on these animals.
That's my big
And
push
it's something
too.
that we have to address. It's an oversight in the plan, but if we evacuate, and Donna certainly appreciates this, but if we evacuate 20 horses at the fairgrounds.
And one of them shows up with VS, then we're in big trouble.
Oh, they're all quarantined.
Yeah.
So but those are some issues that I'm concerned with from my animal safety background. Okay.
Okay. Yes. And I apologize for acronyms. I'm full of them. So.
I'll learn.
Okay. Okay, good. I'm glad it's not just me. All right. So I think that kind of covers the working with the OEM and the fire resources. We do have a date in mind. So if you look at the schedule of events and you scroll down to April, you'll see that on the I did not change it on this. I'm sorry. It's going to be the 15th now of April for the wildfire workshop, and we'll be planning that with the Office of Emergency Management. It's also in tandem with the project that I'm working on with the Conservation District. We're also looking to have the wildfire trailer there. So it'll be, an example of things. Working with the State Forest Service Office, NRCS.
Is this the one where you'll be able to certify people for burning?
No, that'll be a different one, and that one's put on, I think, by the MOP people.
Yeah, we met on that and
Okay.
we're working on it.
Okay, great.
And if you have any interest, our intent, I'm getting a little bit of field here, but bear with me. We're looking at possibility of expanding burning into landfill.
Okay.
Right now, under EPA, they can only go with these little small piles.
Right.
After we go through this fire training program, then they're qualified to burn bigger piles of slash and so forth.
Nice.
And we're going to have 2 or 3 or 4 county employees go through it, so the people at the landfill can burn if we need somebody to back us up or whatever we can.
Okay.
And that will assist us in the disposal of slash.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really looking at it from the mitigation side.
Fantastic.
And if that's the case, and this is all just so preliminary, but just so you're aware, the landfill is one location, but we might also use the area of the dump north of town, not the footprint of the dump, but some of that area that's off of that.
Okay.
But again, that's just a thought at this point in time
Sure.
for convenience.
Yeah, I like that thought. It's a great idea.
Before we leave the wildfire, do you want to go through the rest of this and we'll come back and talk about wildfire some more? What would you prefer?
It doesn't matter to me.
Okay. You can get either with me or with Cindy, but we're working very diligently on trying to get some kind of a plan put together for Wetmore.
Okay.
That will involve evacuation. It will involve potentially cleaning out some of the trash and stuff in Hardscrabble Creek. We've got a fairly dynamic program. I hope it also, we get done, we've identified people as to risk. In other words, if you're an elderly person and you live on the creek, you're the highest risk because of your location, times, your ability to extricate yourself.
Okay.
And we may be able someplace in here, maybe you can help us facilitate some of this.
Sure.
But that's what we're really trying to, we think our greatest need today is trying to prepare Greenwood and Wetmore for a flood event. And we'll
Great
keep you
idea.
in the loop on that, and you're certainly welcome to be part of it as your time permits.
Okay.
So
Terrific.
go ahead.
Okay. Okay, so we do have it scheduled. I have the correct date on the report here. So for April 15th, and it's just wrong on the other list. So for the planning outline, this is just the year in a snapshot. These are all programs that are existing. The only new program that I have under Hort and Ag is the pollinators program, the second one on there. This was something that I had on my radar last year. It didn't come to fruition, so I've kind of bumped it for this year. What I'm looking to do is just making awareness for pollinators and what they mean to our food systems. So that will happen, and all of what I do is based on the feedback that I get from the community, people that come into my office and ask about certain things. The people that come to me and say, hey, what do you think about a program on this? I kind of have a rule of 3 kind of a thing. If 3 people come to me and ask, then it's something that I really feel is a need to put out there. So.
I'm sorry.
No, you're
I
fine.
thought you were done.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Go ahead.
Very stupid question from a stupid
There are no
person.
stupid questions.
Yeah, there are. Because here it is. Can you raise bees in this altitude and this climate?
Yeah.
Okay. I just didn't know. Because I don't see a lot of them. I just didn't know that. Okay.
I have a list of about.
It'd be hard to raise mosquitoes in this.
Thank God for that. But no, you can do that too. I have a list of 17 beekeepers that are in the valley, and that's just my own list. I'm sure that there are others out there that are raising bees. Again, it's that education. You know, can you raise bees in this altitude? How do you do it? What is their life cycle? What are the best for us? So it's those kinds of information pieces that need to come into place. And especially when we start talking about grasshoppers, which I'm going to ask for your input in a minute. But a few years ago when we had aerial spraying, and people were coming in and saying, what is this going to do to my bees? So we're working with people to help them understand what is this process. So that's where the pollinator program. Yeah.
And another point for you is in town, has been with the council. Do you know Father Dan or Brother Dan?
I know him very well.
Okay, he's a beekeeper.
I never knew that.
He goes out and collects. If you have a hive come in, he'll come out and collect it. I actually had, they come out and took out one hive one day, and overnight another hive moved in, so they come back out the next day and took it out.
Something new for me to talk to about.
But he is a very renowned beekeeper.
Oh, he came in and gave me an education. He's a wonderful resource.
Great.
So yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So again, the weed management. This year, I'm acquiring my qualified supervisor's license. I'm hoping this is going to open up an avenue for anyone who wants to come in and become a certified sprayer. Because as you know, my complaints in the past have been timing, getting these people on board to do this. I believe that it can turn into a business for someone as well. But if I'm a qualified supervisor, they can spray under my guidance, and that way we know that our county roads are being sprayed at the right appropriate times with the right chemicals and all of that. So that's one thing I'm acquiring for my QS this year.
And we will also be addressing mowing times more aggressively than we have in the past.
And I know it's been hard.
Mowing on the roadsides to
yeah.
get the weeds before they go
Yeah.
to seed.
Yep. I know Roger's itching to get behind the tractor with his new mower. So that's and it's great that we're all cooperating that way. So again, a lot of this is repetitive. The partnership with the San Isabel Land Protection Trust. This is a series of health forest programs which ties back in. Our first one's going to be that April 15th workshop for the fire mitigation. That's the kickoff, and then over the summer we're going to periodically hold forest health workshops. Probably have a tour up in the mountains to show people good examples, bad examples, and what they're looking at for their own needs on their own properties. So that will happen there, and a nice project that kind of ties in with this is we're able to get a research project done on the Duckett Creek Ranch for cheatgrass, and they're actually going to come out and do, I think it's 3 different plots and using 2 different sprays, and then the third one will kind of be either a graze or a pull or a timing kind of an issue. Cheatgrass is a winter annual, which means that it comes up in the winter time and it will seed right away. It's the first thing to seed, and it's an annual is that it reproduces by seed. So the idea is to how do we rob the seed bank that's there. So these are the things that we'll be looking for on that particular research project. So pretty exciting.
And is there other data in the literature on controlling this?
Yes, there's a whole book out. So Derek Sebastian is going to be coming down and doing the spraying with a chemical. It's a grant that he got from Dow, and I think it's 2 different chemicals that he's going to be doing 2 different plots on.
See, we've tried heavy grazing and cheatgrass to control it, and I've seen cheatgrass put out a seed head no taller than that.
And from what I understand, that seed is viable the minute it starts to form.
It
I
is
can't help but think of that.
insidious to control.
It is, yeah.
Can you spell that? All I can think of is chia.
Chia? No, it's actually cheat. And it cheats. It cheats the ground. That's how I think of it. So it's CHEAT. It's Downy Brome.
Downy Brome is the official name.
Yeah.
I was trying to get the.
Yeah. So it is a brome grass.
Okay.
So it's very distinctive.
Wide.
It falls over the seed head does.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. So.
But it's probably in the short run, and we look in the Wetmore area. That is the primary fire threat in May, because it'll grow well, and then it dries up, and you got if you haven't
Fire
used it,
starter.
you got 6 or 8 inches
It's a
of
flashy
grass
fuel.
sitting there that is extremely flammable.
Yeah.
Excuse me, go ahead.
No, you're fine. So that's the only other thing I can think of. Other than okay, so the community gardens, we'll plan on doing the jail garden again, which is what we've called the Victory Garden. I have it listed on here as the jail, but you'll know that that's the Victory Garden. And the VSO, Tim and I have been talking about doing something for the veterans. And the Veterans to Farmers.
Where are you in your?
I'm sorry, under Horton Ag. It's the community gardens, about the middle
You're not on the right page.
on the
This
planning
page.
outline. Yeah, that's what you're
Oh,
looking
okay,
at.
right up
Yeah,
here.
you got it.
Okay, I thought we were through that because we'd gotten
Okay.
down to the. Okay.
Yeah, I'm jumping around. I'm sorry, but that's the only other new one that I have on here is the Veterans to Farmers program. I explained it, I think, in December, but I'll explain it again. It's the Veterans to Farmers program. If you Google it, you can actually find their program. They are working with the Denver Botanic Gardens, and there's a hub in Denver, and there's also a hub outside of Fort Collins. And I had the pleasure of meeting the people who started this program, and they are basically what we're looking to do is with partnering with them is bringing in their names, some of their experience. They work with the Building Farmers program with CSU, and it's really just giving these veterans an outlet for them to spend some time getting their hands dirty and being productive in the process. So yeah, it's really worked well. Like I say, I'm getting some really good people to come in and help me structure this program. Tim is all over it. He's already got a few people that are willing to do this, so we're looking forward to doing it.
One of the negatives to this, I had one of the veterans that Tim's been working with, he and another guy are ready to go in the cattle business. Roundup, they're going to make a living raising cattle. But they don't have the resources to even get to first base. But when they come to me, when he called me, and Tim referred them on, we sat down, well, this is what we're going to do. Well, but we still have to go back to that basic planning,
right?
Budget development, all of those things that they haven't thought about. So I said, well, please come meet with me, we'll sit down and go through this.
Good.
But those are,
yeah.
We have to be realistic. We can take, 20 acres in Canyon and do a whole lot more than we can up here with 20 acres. So.
Sure, right.
Okay, excuse me, go on.
All right.
While you're up there, have we talked about community gardens yet?
That's where we are.
Excuse me, the farmer's market. That's
no, please.
Help me out. I think we talked about a program or something with our COG meeting that we could implement through the farmer's market? Was that a safety thing, or was it a marketing thing, or what? We're passing out some kind of program, maybe passing out the literature that we have from of what COG can do and the programs available to them and some of the housing stuff. Was that? We talked about something there that we wanted to.
With what I'm recalling, but it wasn't with COG, was food handling.
Who was that with?
That was with the gentleman from where for now? I can't
No,
remember.
I wasn't
John
with that
Martinez,
meeting.
but it was
John-
the other guy. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was-
Last year we tried to coordinate getting everybody in the valley looking.
And he came and nobody showed.
Nobody showed.
Yeah.
I think what we were talking about, as you will know, COG has got lots and lots and lots of functions, and
Right.
some of them are social functions,
Mm-hmm.
and some are money that's available, all these things. And I think we were talking about trying to make something available at the farmer's market, be it a table that they manned or something that we were going to make this information available. You're nodding your head. Are you remembering anything?
I'm sorry, I'm nodding my head, I'm listening to what
No,
you're
are
saying.
you
I'm sorry.
remembering anything that?
I am not. I apologize, this is not ringing a bell.
Occasionally I have a brain cramp.
Please send their information on
But,
and
but
or
what
my
we're looking
information
at
to them.
is that there's a lot of stuff that are available to people through COG. I mean, in some of our own county agencies that they're not aware of. And I think what I'm thinking, we were talking about how would we make this available to the general populace. And one of the thoughts was having
Was it the meals? We did a lot.
It was something, but we wanted to expand something at the farmer's market. We can discuss that in more detail, and I'll see if I can find my notes. But that's something that we were talking about that we could do at the farmer's market.
Great.
No, sorry, I'm just at a loss. Sorry.
Well, occasionally, there are those, just like athletes, you've got the old senior athlete, he's in good shape and runs like the Dickens all day long.
In his head.
And you've got these new drafts, the choices, the rookies that come in and
Right.
Got it. Okay.
But anyway, that's something I think if we did, maybe I talked to an individual, but something that I think we want to look at as
Great.
resources.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a great avenue for it. We get a lot of traffic coming through our market.
Okay, continue, please.
Okay. So just moving on to 4-H and youth development, still moving forward with the school enrichment programs. Every year we've done a robotics camp, and it's growing in size, so that's a really fun thing. STEM, which is the science, technology, engineering, and math, they are adding an A for arts, so it will now be called STEAM. And I like this idea because when we have our kids use their creative side, I think there's a lot more retention that happens, and there are actually studies that show that when they can be creative, they're learning a lot more on the outside parameters as well as the main core of what they're supposed to be learning.
But STEM, that's a school program, isn't it?
That is a nationwide program. I think
it's administered through the school boards, I believe, not through 4-H.
Oh yes, no, it's through 4-H. I have all kinds of STEM stuff that comes through.
Well, you may, but my son and daughter-in-law, my grandson and granddaughter have competed in the science Olympiads, which are the competitions, but they do it through their schools. They actually coach them through the schools.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah, it's a 4-H directive as well. So it's, I mean, I
okay, I'm not criticizing. I'm just trying to understand the.
And
I'm not sure exactly where STEM started from, and I know that
there
when
are
it.
STEM schools as well.
Yes,
They're separate. They're specified as a STEM school.
No, these are STEM programs like in Gunnison High School. Gunnison's not a STEM school, but they have the Science Olympiad.
They have a STEM program.
They have a STEM program,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
So, and then ag in the classroom as well. So I'm continuing on with my vermiculture program. I think I mentioned it when we had our kind of quick powwow last year. And so that's been a really a good program, and I'll probably do it again next year for 5th grade and kind of make that an annual ongoing. It teaches the kids through the fun medium of worms, but it teaches them about soil building and why soil is important. So, okay. Trainings, we're having a few come up quickly. MQA and marketing is going to happen on February 19th, so if you look at your list of...
It's meat quality assurance.
That one I know.
Okay. So the 19th of February, I put marketing in that as well because I don't ever have all of the kids together in one spot like I do at MQA. So the marketing piece will go in there too. I'll throw in a little bit of record book training for the livestock projects then. But then I have coerced a great person in Beverly to come back and give the record book training, and that'll probably happen sometime in April. She's going to get back to me on a firm date. On here, it's for April 25th, but I'll firm that up once I know from her. So again, these are still things that are repeated every year. Project nights, they're going to happen kind of in conversation with Mary Gomp. She took all of the sewing machines that we have downstairs and fixed all but 2. And the 2, she found a gentleman who can repurpose those for parts. And so we have 5 sewing machines in the basement that will work. So I think we're going to start early and do a project night before May 1st because May 1st is our drop ad deadline. So for those kids that come in and make a pillowcase and say, wow, that was easy, I can do this project, this is something that they can do and get encouraged to do. So again, and this will probably tie back into the Francis Kettle Memorial group, which I don't have anywhere on my planning because I wrote this a while back and this has since come up. The Francis Kettle Memorial, I don't know if you've explained, then you kind of understand what this is. So again, this will probably tie back into getting kids interested in the basic of what they need to be learning. So that's project nights and it kind of covers a gamut. Our speech contest we have set for April 13th. I don't know where yet, but I think we're going to have a pretty good showing of kids. I've had a lot of interest so far. Our first public speaking practice will be February 27th. And so I'll know after that what I'll kind of gauge maybe how many we have. The problem is that having practices right after school, we compete with sports, and so those kids that want to compete in sports, I tell them the practices are not mandatory. They help tremendously, and the 6 weeks in the growing of the practices, these kids really flourish. It's just amazing to see their talent go from point A to to point B, and then bring their A game the night of the competition. So it's a lot of
You
fun.
have your judges in place for that?
Almost.
Okay.
Yeah, still working on that one. I can't convince Charlie to be a judge. He's helped with the program for so many years, but I don't know if he wants to do that or not. And volunteer management and regional and state programs. The regional program that's coming up is the Ag Fest. This is a program that Chaffee, Lake, Teller, Pueblo, Huerfano, and Custer, we all get together and do a 3-day program for all of the regions. I got grant money this year to help with the bus to get our kids over to the camp or to the Ag Fest this year. It's in Pueblo at the State Fairgrounds. We have 6 stations that cover everything from products from meat, like, did you know that Jell-O comes from the hoof of a cow? Never eat Jell-O again, will you? So these are the kinds of things that the kids will learn. Mine happens to be forestry, and because it is, people overlook that it's an agricultural field, that we grow it and we use it, it's a product. And so we're looking at different aspects of agriculture that kids might not normally think about. Some of the more fun ones, there's an embryology one, so they actually get to see some of the chicks being hatched, some of the tried and true, of course. So those are fun. But that'll happen the last day of February and then 1st and 2nd. So, and let's see. So, and then moving down to the CSU work teams. I've taken on quite a few this year. There's one that's a 2-year commitment. I'm in my first year. This is the co-lead on the Natural Resources Planning and Reporting Unit. I think I had mentioned in our last meeting that this is the one that is coming up with the Natural Resources app and the Institute. So these are 2 things that will come that will eventually benefit everyone across the state. So those are the 2-year terms on that one. The committees are kind of just subsidiaries to these planning and reporting units. And then this year I'm the sitting president for the County Ag Association. So and our annual meeting is going to be held in Utah this year. So we're the sistering state. So we're going to be our Ag Association is going to be helping over that. So that covers the outline.
Very routine.
Yeah.
Have a question. Can you bring Jay and Bob up to speed with where we are with the 4-H director? And we still need to do our workshop with the gentleman from CSU.
Right. So there are your names and numbers again.
Thank you.
Yes. And I'm just when I'm thinking about it. They did name one last week. We got an email from Lou Swanson. The interim person was the one that got the job, Jean Glowacki. She's been I am so going to butcher her title. It's the volunteer coordinator. This was her position before, and now she is the state director. So they'll probably find somebody to fill that position, because I know that I've used Jean in the past for numerous things. I think she's going to do a fine job. She knows Colorado 4-H. She is very, in tune with things that are going on across the state. So I think that she's going to be a good asset. Her name is on there as well. She is now the state director.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where was she before?
She was still in the state office, but she was the volunteer coordinator, leader, person.
But she's been in Fort Collins for a while.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now, are you also involved in the search and screen for is that a director? Someplace I thought I saw that you went on search and screen here. I'm imagining something.
No, I don't know. I don't think I put it out there, but I was, well, I think I still am on the search committee for the small acreage management position, which is being put on hold because it's a split cost between CSU and the NRCS, and there's a hiring freeze with the federal government. So it's kind of being put on hold for right now. And those are the kinds of things that just come up during the year if there's a position that opens, whether it's me being on the search committee or me serving as a mentor or, some of those as other duties assigned, kind of a bullet thing. So those come up during the year. I don't expect that it's going to take a whole lot of my time. Usually, I would say 2 days at the max, and that's including interviews that I give or that we perform with these people. But that one's probably going to be coming up. It depends on when they lift this hiring freeze. So they were going to fly the job, I think in March, or it might have been February, and then close in March. But now it looks like it is going to be pushed into May. So, but I'll keep you abreast of that. What the plan is there.
All right, and I'm going to try to reach these people as soon as possible.
Great. Okay.
So I'll come up with a bunch of dates that we can work with.
Perfect. Okay, and I'm going to get to that next. Actually, why don't we just go ahead and move to that one next? It actually came out to be very great timing at our county area directors meeting that we had 2 weeks ago now, I guess. Our new deputy director came up with a one-page strategic roadmap, and this is what the state is looking at. Just a one-page vision, and they're calling it from the ground up. This is directly from our extension updates, which we get from the regional directors. They rotate through, but they're talking about working on a strategic plan. So again, it's perfect timing. It couldn't have come up any better because it looks like we're moving forward with goal setting and strategic for extension. And what does that look like from the county going on up, which is one of the things that I really admire about CSU Extension is that they really do try to work from the county's perspective on up. There's a lot of top-driven down, of course, and I will say that there has been in the past a lot of top-driven down in 4-H, and I did make Jean aware of my concerns with that things need to be from the ground up when it comes to 4-H because our county is not comparable to Larimer County. And when you talk about, our roughly 77 kids, you can't compare to 1,500 that Larimer County has. And so what is good for them might not be good for us and vice versa. So having this and moving forward, that this will come with whenever we can build a workshop around this, if that's what you prefer to do.
So this will come through your advisory group?
I would like to start with my advisory group on this and then bring it to you for suggestions from my advisory group to you to find out, is this the path that you see? I met with my advisory group last Monday, and I've got a really great group put into place.
I think we need to call, and this is a little bit, but I think we need to even look at community development and some of these things to see how this all fits together.
Absolutely.
And that would be, again, after your group has come together. Potentially we would, have a workshop and call in, to be open to anybody, but make a push to get specific people there to talk about it.
Okay.
And we can look at our plans that SCED did and some of the others and see how that fits into here too. Because this is for not just youth, but it's for extension planning in general.
Right.
So that brings extension priorities and goals back to the county.
Right. So along that top line, one of these will be 4-H. And so, and because 4-H is a priority in Custer County. So then where are your other priorities?
Yeah, but and again, we'll come in and, so I just want to be sure we've got an avenue.
Okay.
That we go through.
So are you suggesting, do we still want to meet with her 4-H director and her CSU director?
I think you wanted to, I think we should.
Okay.
But I'm looking
because that might help
Yeah,
during
but I'm
this.
looking at
Right.
this as a working document, that we make it as broad as we can.
Okay.
Because we have this need, and that's just one more tool we can bring to
Great,
bear on it.
great.
Right. So can we work together in order to, I'd like to get my advisory input first before we meet with
Yes.
the folks I just
work-
gave you.
You work with,
Yeah.
We'll work
So we'll
together.
work on dates and make
You
sure
guys
we
work that
get
out.
everything,
Okay.
because I'd like to have their input and possibly your input first before we go there.
Before we go to
you
these.
mean to,
If that's, yeah, to bring them into a workshop or meeting or whatever. And that way they've got this and they can go through it and
I
see.
think Donna had some questions that weren't specifically related to
They
the
do,
workshop.
she does, right.
That we need to address as sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
probably.
Okay,
Yeah, I'd still rather
Yeah.
do this with the three of us and you
okay.
with them.
And then
Okay.
Okay.
then we can come back, and if we
Yeah,
need
if we
to
have
have
to have another one, we'll have
Bill
another.
back
Okay.
involved again in this, we'll bring him up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great, okay,
Okay.
fantastic. All right,
Excellent.
so that's the strategic planning. Bless you.
Is that about it?
Well,
It's almost there.
do we need to go into executive session for personnel?
Shall we do that now, Mr. Counselor?
Well, you can either do it now or we're doing an executive session this afternoon.
Are
I
you-
won't be here
you're
to
not around
come
this
on the
afternoon?
doctors, no.
Okay, that leaves us no choice.
Okay.
We will do it now.
And then just one quick thing before we adjourn this portion of it. This is what I sent out to the 4-H Foundation. And this is basically the document that shows the responsibility and the accountability for 4-H agents that we have in order to, for the chartered groups that we have. So the charter are the clubs. Locally, it's our Custer County 4-H Foundation, and the issue is that we wanted to make sure that our foundation understands what our directives are. So this is what I got from Jean. She sent this to me, and I forwarded it on to the foundation board. So in essence, if a club or a group, they're raising money in the name of 4-H, and there's, they want to go and give it to charity, they can't do that. And so that's where my oversight comes into play.
And this is from Jean
Glowacki, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I just needed the information.
So I just wanted to make sure that you guys all had a copy of this as well.
This is where, because we met yesterday, Foundation met yesterday, and we had Bill as the new president. So we don't have to take the time here, but this was a topic that the 4-H Foundation had questions on. So we won't take the time here, we'll just bring that up in discussion.
I just wanted to make sure that you guys all had a hard copy of that. So.
Good.
And I'm done.
Just a quick question.
Yes.
What do you do in your spare time?
School.
Never mind. That
School.
was rhetorical.
Until the
Sounds
end
like
of
you're
until the
very,
end of
very,
summer,
very
school.
busy. That's
And
what
then
I
after
was
that, I'm
referring
going to go skydiving. I'm just kidding.
It was
I hope the
rhetorical.
heck your parachute opens after all that effort.
Thank you so much.
So, well, I guess I'd like to make the motion to go into executive session.
Before we do that, could we take care of Jerry Pickerel's letter for
I
search
think
and
that makes
rescue?
sense.
Sure.
Because I think it's just for the board to, we're not buying the truck for him, we're just saying we think he should have it.
Just a second, I'm not sure I'm done. I think
Oh,
I am,
okay.
but just be.
I apologize. I didn't mean to rush you.
Okay.
I thought we would.
I think this is great. And again, the immediate focus with your help is going to be on the wildfire recovery.
Yes.
And I met with Beth yesterday, and we have some emergency funds maybe available that has to be administered by a group or a body. And Fremont County, this is called the Wildfire Emergency Restoration, I think.
Okay.
In Fremont, the Soil Conservation District is acting as the sponsoring agency. And we'll know on Thursday if the district's going to do it.
Okay.
But we're going to talk about it in here. If they don't, we've got to be in a position to backstop it. I'm a little uncomfortable with backstopping it because then we have to agree to come up with 25% of the match. The district has some monies, and also they can identify the volunteers, and they're
Okay.
already doing it. So my thought is on that part of it, and you may be in part of it because you're an ex officio member, aren't you, of the Conservation District Board?
Yes.
So that's just to give you a heads up. On
Okay.
where we are. And I think that's all that I
Okay.
have yet. Okay.
Okay, restoration.
Sorry to rush.
Thank you.
So, Robin, I'm going to
And
ask.
thanks for
Thank you.
thanks
I'm
for
going to
the
ask that you stay.
I will.
Okay.
thanks for the information on the first.
Yes, yes, you're welcome.
Okay. I think the BSO is next on my agenda.
Well,
We're going to take care of that.
Oh, shit, yes, take care of you next, yes.
that's this.
Thank you, Commissioners. We're
I've got the
applying for a
letter right here.
provider grant through the Colorado Public Health and Environment, and we're wanting to acquire that vehicle or similar. But the important part of that is there's a bed that slides into the back of that we're also putting on the agreement. That has compartments on the side, has sliding out racks. Something we really need to do. Our gear is sometimes a mess when we get out there. As you can see, that's $42,000. The bed will be about $4,500, and our share of that will be about $23,000 or $24,000. The provider grants are heavily competitive, as you know. We're under full court press to get this done by the 15th of this month. We would like the commissioners to write a glowing letter of support for that vehicle. It will improve our ability to deliver rescue services dramatically. We hook the command trailer to the back of this vehicle, and when it goes out, it's got everything in it, all in one. We don't have to worry about getting everybody loaded up and having the right equipment. We think it's going to improve our capabilities substantially. And if you would feel the same, we would just request that you draft a letter.
Is this the letter you're referring to?
Yes. I think. Now, what will be our financial obligation for this?
None. Unless you want to pay our
Because
share of the
all
match.
you're needing is a letter of support.
That's right.
Supporting SAR's efforts to get this.
Yeah, we're asking for the town of West Cliff and the town of Silver Cliff and the sheriff and a couple of other rescue clubs to also sign a similar letter. This is expected by the grant, and so we do it.
You think you have a pretty good shot at getting it?
As I say, it's very competitive, so I don't know.
I make a motion that we offer our support to the Custer County Search and Rescue for their new support vehicle. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Moved and seconded. Discussion.
I wholeheartedly
I have a letter that I would like to read that we just drafted. To whom it may concern, the Custer County Board of County Commissioners is pleased to support the grant application by Custer County Search and Rescue for a new support vehicle. Custer County Search and Rescue provides invaluable service to Custer County residents and many visitors that we have from all over the world. The BOCC strongly supports all our work. A new vehicle would enable the Custer County Search and Rescue to provide world-class service to the people who recreate in a beautiful Saginaw Coastal Mountain Range. Sincerely, and the three of us.
Couldn't have drafted it better myself. It's wonderful.
I'll call the question.
Okay, the question's been called for. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. Pickle, thank you for doing this.
Thank you, Jim.
Glad I saw you yesterday.
I guess we can sign this and just give it to Brenda. and she'll send it.
Wonderful.
Okay?
May I be excused?
Thank you for all that you guys do.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank you.
always, every time I go over and visit with you folks, I'm amazed.
It's all business there, isn't it?
Well, it is. Now, we've also looked at, Cindy, I think, or somebody's thinking about trying to get some kind of a tracked vehicle.
Well, we have 3 tracked vehicles.
You know, like a snowcat or something.
Oh, yeah, it is. The snowcat is on our wish list.
And I would assume, can't speak for my colleagues, but I would support that when the time comes forth. This lets us get back into Deer Peak and places we can't get to. And this would also, if we had another emergency situation like we had out here this last week, potentially search and rescue could take the snowcat out the way and get them out, and we wouldn't have a problem. All right.
Thank you both very much.
Thanks for your time. Thank you, sir.
Chair.
You done.
Mr. Chairman, can I, before we go into executive session, can I request that we have a 5-minute break?
You may, but I don't have to accept it.
That's why I'm asking.
I will declare that we're going to go for a 10-minute recess, and we'll come back here at 11:20.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We are.
Okay. I will reconvene the Board of Custer County Commissioners at 11:20 a.m. Our next item of business will be the Veteran Service Officer report.
Good to see you.
Morning, Tim.
Good. How you doing?
Good.
You guys
got a busy day, so I'll run through it.
Send us a report and I didn't get it, or did I just-
No, I usually don't have the information I need until like the day before in order to put this together, so, and I've got a copy for you. This report is the state requirement. Here's the original, Bob, there's the original. I got a copy for you. This is what has to be returned to the state every month in order for the county to get paid semi-annually. So, matter of fact, there should be a check coming any day for the last 6 months. So, and just a little history on that. Prior to July of 2015 is when the state finally put some money in the budget for the county veteran service offices. Prior to that, the county, if the VSO office was part-time, which it was, the county used to get $100 a month. And if they were full-time, they got $200. And then the fiscal year last year, 2015 fiscal year, they said if you're full-time, 35 hours or more, the county's now getting about $13.85 a month from the county, from the state, and that's paid semi-annually to the county. Okay, so we should be getting a check any day for July through December last year. Okay.
Actually, I think it came in.
Did it come in? Oh, did it come straight to you guys?
I think yesterday.
Okay. Okay. Usually I get notified, and I haven't heard anything yet, so I. Okay. Good. So.
I gave it to Donna.
Donna.
So and
okay.
They said they passed it on to you after.
Okay. So on this monthly report, some highlights real quick that we normally go over every month is on the first page is the volume of traffic through the office, whether it's phone calls or office visits. So for the month of January, had 70 phone calls, and that includes inbound and outbound calls. Office visits, veterans coming through the office. He had 99 personal contacts with veterans last month. So we were one short of 100. They would have been 5 months in a row of 100 visits in a month. So 2015, when I got hired, had 1 month that we hit 100. And a lot of that, and part of that is due in the winter time. We have the Veterans Trust Fund. Oh, there it is. Oh, there it is. Okay, cool. So when that grant money starts in September, October timeframe, there's definitely a bump up in the amount of traffic coming through the office due to that. Okay. And then the other thing that we always highlight is the very last page. The next last page shows the amount of forms that were done. These are VA forms that are submitted, whether it's for health care benefits, claims, power of attorneys, so forth. And then the very last page, I highlighted the database. keeping track as vets come in. I add them to the state database. And when I first started, we had 60-something names in the database. We're now, as of end of last month, 334. And we continue to grow on average 8 to 12 per month. Okay.
These are new veterans coming into your office?
Veterans who are coming in for the first time into the office, put them into the database. So, and that's a challenge because my goal, personally, this is just my estimate, that in the county, we're over 1,000 in the county, somewhere between 1,000 and 1,100 vets in the county is my estimate. And then I pick up a lot of traffic from Cotopaxi, Texas Creek area, and then I'll pass the Fremont area off of Oak Creek Grade. Those vets come here. Conservatively, there's at least another 500 in that area easily. I'm probably underestimating it, but so my guesstimate is that 1,500 to 1,600 conservatively is what the potential is for that database, as far as that goes. So the nice thing about this position is that there's plenty of traffic to, if you do the outreach and so forth, to justify the hours and so forth. There's more than enough as far as that goes. But the big plus that I have compared to, say, Denver, Springs, Pueblo office, is they're so swamped down there, they don't have the time to put the individual service, personal service into it as much as far as doing the research on appeals and actually putting disability claims together and so forth. They're in a rush. They have a backlog from 2 to 4 to 6 weeks sometimes on appointments down there. So I'm in kind of a really good spot here as far as that goes. So that's the report. Any questions? On
What's your pop-up tent for?
Oh, the tent. The tent. Part of the challenge is with my office is you'd be amazed how many months when someone comes in for the first time, I hear this all the time. I didn't know we had this office here. I didn't know we had a veteran service office here. I hear that all the time. And so as much as we've been doing as far as public outreach, I want to take the next step this year to actually set up once or twice a month at the farmers market, at special events and so forth. To get the word out. I ran over to the farmers market one day last summer to grab a hamburger Elin Stan, which I worked for her a couple of summers ago, so I know how good her beef is. So, and in the 10 minutes I was over there, I met 5 vets who I'd never met. In that 10, 15 minutes I was there. So that's when I started thinking, I need to get out of the office a little bit more and do a little bit more as far as that. So let's take it to the next level on the public outreach and education process.
When a veteran comes in for the first time and says, seeking health advice services, whatever, is there a time frame where you say your backlog will get to you at some point, or what is the process there?
Depending on what you need, the biggest demand, of course, is for service-connected disability claims. Right now, I've got about 65 open claims at various stages. We're still gathering information to put the claim together. Some are in, as I tell people, they're in the oven cooking, so we're waiting for a response from the VA. Some are at the first appeals level where they've been denied, so we've either been denied or the rating that came back was under-evaluated. So we're appealing that. And we have 4 or 5 that are pending for BVA Board of Veterans Appeals level to be certified. 2 have been certified and are on their way to DC. That certification process, when we appeal the second denial, takes almost 12 months to get it out of the regional office out of Denver. It takes them about a year to certify it. It's just a backlog thing. And then once it gets on the road to DC, it takes 2 to 3 years to get a hearing. Okay. And if that gets denied at that level, then we appeal to the Court of Veterans Appeals. By the time you're done from start to finish, if you appeal all the way to DC, it could be an 8 to 10 year process. So,
in terms of our local service, my sense is that every veteran who walks in that door is seen in a very short period of time.
It would usually same day, next day. Every once in a while, you get a real busy week where it may be a day or two, but that's usually within 24 to 48 hours. Yeah.
But to put in perspective, these 99 office visits, 99 people were in the office. And you're only open 4 days a week.
Right.
Because the 5th day is for outreach, traveling, and so forth. So that means that you're averaging about 25 people in 4 days.
On average. Yep.
So give you an idea of the workload. And I very seldom go by over there that I don't see cars parked.
Yeah, it'll fluctuate. Especially with we set aside the Veteran Trust Fund, which was administered by the VFW this year, and we had a really good year. We just finished spending the last bit of that, so we went through $40,000 in assistance from September through January. And so when that grant money is available, just to give you an idea, in September, when we had the first day we were taking applications for that, I saw almost 40 people in one day.
My God.
Okay, so September, October, that's not usually see between 30 and 40 in that one day. So you'll see a little dip in the numbers over the next couple months. A couple of reasons. One, the trust fund's done. Two, we're getting to kind of a busy time where I've got to take a week off in March. My only grandbaby we've got, my stepdaughter, is married to a Navy guy, and they're going to Japan for 2 years. Okay, and then April is the mandatory state conference, training conference that I have to go to every year. In June, I lose a week going to the national conference for training. So just because of losing those days, we'll see a little bit of a dip.
I've got something else to talk about. If we do that, I make a motion that we approve the Veteran Service Officer report for the month of January 2017. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. One other thing, Tim, I wanted to briefly discuss with you. We're trying to figure out how we're going to get some labor stuff done in Wetmore to do some cleanup along Hardscrabble Creek through Wetmore and through what we call Greenwood area. We're concerned about the flooding off of the Junkins Fire.
Right.
Coming down there. And one of the groups mentioned was Rubicon, which I understand is a national veterans group. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm not real familiar with them, but
they're one that I think is contacting. And I also wondered if we might have other vets in the Wetmore area or Florence area. If we have any vets along the, I don't need an answer today,
Yeah,
but
I'm
just as a heads up,
Yeah.
if we have some vets that are along the creek, maybe they could come up and help those vets.
Right. Okay. I can get the word out to
Just to plant the seed, and we'll go from there as we can tell.
Okay.
Is there anything else?
Yeah, a couple things real quick. Question?
No, I was just going to say, how's the flagpole working?
Working great. That's
Okay.
working great. A lot of good comments, and we're going to do an official dedication right before Memorial Day on that. So,
Quickly?
A couple of things real quick. I mentioned about the Veteran Trust Fund, and Ivan Brooks and the VFW have agreed already to do it again next year, which is great. Last year we were this close to not having it this year, so they stepped up and did that. Also, I'll mention real quick, Friday we were invited to the board. The state has a board that oversees the grant money and so forth, and they met Friday in Trinidad, and we were invited down because Gail, who's the state grant administrator, we had such a good year, and she was so impressed with the cooperation between the VFW and the VSO office and how we did that collaboratively. That's the model that she's trying to use for other counties around the state.
Congratulations.
So they invited us to come down and kind of explain what we're doing here. And so the word's gotten out on that. So I mentioned about the tent already. Before we do the official flag dedication in honor of Mr. Frazier, who won 9 Purple Hearts and passed away here in 2001, we're going to do, in conjunction with the Extension Office, Robin's going to help, we're going to spruce up the front. Before we do that, make it look a little nicer. A meeting tomorrow, a big meeting tomorrow, in Pueblo with the telehealth person out of Pueblo. Okay, one of the things that we're trying to get here is telehealth. We have vets driving 2 hours round trip for simple things like their PTSD counseling, and so 2 hours round trip in bad weather. They're stressed by the time they get there. They come back. It's kind of a waste of time for a lot of them. So we're trying to get telehealth so that they can sit in front of a screen, come in to the office, and we could use. And Shannon's already. Privacy gave me permission to use that other office next door as far as that goes. So they can come in, see their counselor on the screen, save that 2 hour round trip. And so with the goal eventually to have a full telehealth clinic up here for those type of things. Okay. And then just a couple other things real quick. Health Fair in April, I'm going to participate in that. And also had another veteran pass away on Friday. This is one of these stories that is kind of heartbreaking, but it just shows we have a long ways to go. Vietnam vet passed away Friday. He was in hospice. I went and saw him on Thursday. He passed away Friday afternoon, and he's never been in my office ever. There's no record of him ever, and he's lived here for quite a few years. Bronze Star Medal winner from Vietnam. So we're scrambling because the cause of death is potentially an Agent Orange related incident. So we're scrambling to try to get a claim in. If we can get him service connected to make his wife eligible for survivor benefits. So That's just another one of those stories that we have long ways to go yet to get in touch with all the veterans up here.
Good. What I would like, I realize that these numbers you don't have in until the end of the month, but the other items that you discussed, if you could put those together in a short narrative form so we can look at them between Friday and our next meeting. And then we got some other questions or whatever, we can work with it.
Okay, sounds good.
But congratulations on a good month.
All right, we
Anything else?
away.
Okay.
All right, no problem. Appreciate it. Good to see you.
Thank you.
May, you have a date yet?
Yes, 13.
Well, you're right, I didn't make it in 10 minutes, I made it in 13. All right, at this time, I would entertain a motion. Well, at this time, let's have a motion to recess the Board of County Commissioners and to convene as executive session.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right. This time I will entertain a motion for the executive session. Do you want to make the motion?
I'll make a motion that we reconvene in executive session to discuss personnel matters with our legal counsel.
Is there a second?
There's a second.
Any discussion? All right, the motion, Commissioner Prince made a motion, seconded by Commissioner Hood, to go into executive session citing Colorado Revised Statute 246402 regarding personnel issues. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, at this time I will request that the room be cleared except for those that are involved in the executive session.
Now, this is personnel, and then after it on the agenda, you have interviews. That, you'll come back here before the whole interview thing, right?
Well,
We still
or
have
will you
human
just
services to
keep-
go. I think there's still
we have
another.
human services still. We have.
Oh, yeah,
we still have
okay,
human
so we
services.
still have meeting, okay.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
wondered, thank you.
Did you get your recorder?
Yes, I got the recorder, thank you.
12:20 p.m.
Yep.
I attest that I am the chairperson of the Custer County Board of Commissioners and confirm that the discussion remained on topic, that no matters were adopted and no actions or decisions were made.
And as the county attorney, I'll confirm that, and since it was a discussion of personnel issues, everything was recorded, and it did stay on topic.
Okay. Next item, we've got our, I think, Human Services coming. Hey! Da 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 da!
Oh goodness, we have a nice little thing here. Good.
Thank you. Okay.
So you guys have all of your little...
Yes.
Yes? Okay. So does anybody have any questions or anything? Are we just gonna go through it?
One question. No, wait. Is this you? No, that's not you.
No, that's me, right?
That's not you.
Right here.
Yeah, I know, but I had a note, but that's
Oh,
a
but
different
but
section.
it wasn't me.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yes,
What
ma'am.
do you want to say? Oh, I thought you wanted to.
No, I wonder if we had any. Do you have any questions on the report that she submitted to us electronically? Oh, yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm looking at the first color-coded one. It's Custer County Statement of Budget, January 16 through December 2016, expenditures and unexpended balance.
Yes. Okay.
The very bottom right corner, total, is 123. You see where I am?
Yeah, back here.
Bottom
Yeah.
right corner. What is that all?
I don't know. I'd have to. Ron went through and redid this, and I'm not sure what that is. He color coordinated it. I don't have it color coordinated, so I'm not even sure.
Without knowing what the colors mean.
I'm like, what are you doing? What he's trying to show with the colors is that some of it doesn't have county dollars attached to it, and like Medicaid transportation, that's
You're
in.
telling us this report's suspect and we really don't understand what it
No, I'm just telling, Medicaid transportation doesn't have any county dollars attached to it, and so I think, and LEAP doesn't have county dollars, old age pension doesn't have county dollars, and so he's adding up the number of payments that, for sure, down here at 48, and the number of year-to-date payments that don't have county dollars attached to them. That's what he's trying to show on that how much we are spending that doesn't have any county dollars. And like, right. And like Medicaid, Medicaid transportation, that's all, we get totally reimbursed for all of those expenditures. And so that's what he's trying to show on that.
TANF we get reimbursed too, don't we?
TANF, yes. TANF, there's an allocation, and we have to put in the 28,833. That's our maintenance of effort that we have to put in, and anything above that, it goes on the allocation here, which is on the next page.
But you show that we've expended.
We expended
60,000.
We expended to 28,000 we spent, and then it's just showing. He's just showing what we've actually spent. But we only had to put in the 28,833.
The rest of that will be reimbursed.
The rest of it is reimbursed because we have an allocation, and it will be reimbursed. So it looks bad because it shows like 308%, but the county only had to put in the 28,833. So it's very complicated, and sometimes these things don't flow right, and we were trying to figure out some way to make it better. And on some, if there's no county dollars attached, and maybe just like on the 2883, just show that we're done and we don't have any other expenditures. But we tried to show you how much we're actually spending, and that there's no county dollars attached to it.
Is he in?
Ron?
Is he at lunch?
No, he's here. You want me to?
Would you like him to come in and explain this to you?
Well, when I saw this, I was trying to figure out what the code was.
What is it?
Yeah, I don't know. He redid that and said, I think this will help him, and I'm not sure that it did. I think it made it more confusing.
Can I make a suggestion? I'm fine with however you set it up.
Okay.
But tell me
what exactly.
What's the key?
What's the key? What is the key?
What's the key? What is this?
I know. And it's very complicated. And we're trying to figure out a different way to do it. And he just did that and said, I think that'll help. And he sent it off, and I'm like, well, I don't think that's going to help anything.
Do you oversee what he does?
Well, I mean, I understood what he was trying to do with the colors here. But
you're too close to it, and we're not.
That's right. And so I'm like, well, I understand what you're saying. But, yeah, I oversee him. But, he said this should help a little bit, but I don't think it does. So we can come up with something else and make sure we have a key code so that you have a clue what you're looking at here. Because it is, yeah. And now that I tell you, well, that's what he's done, well, now you understand it. But without the code or whatever, then you're not going to get it. Yeah.
Also explain the 20%, 100%, and 0% in the lower left-hand corner.
Well, 20% is what the county has to put in on some of them. 0% is...
So what we've needed to put in, we're at 94%.
And all the way to the right.
Yeah, the 94.6.
Oh, wait a minute. This is January 16
But
to December of 16.
Right. Yeah. This is a calendar year.
And this report is from last year.
It's from last year. Mm-hmm. I don't have January report done yet because we don't have that. I just enter that stuff now, and so I don't have it. I'll be giving you January's next month. So this is our year end, which just shows, number one, like on the admin side, which we're 80-20 on that. We came out on our budget. We're not over budget. TANF, go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's okay.
You just said you're 80-20. I gotta know that.
Okay.
Please, give us the information we need.
Okay. We'll work on this and try to figure out some way. Maybe we can come up.
Narrative administration is 80% state and federal, 20% county, of which we budgeted $413,000. We spent X. I understand that.
Okay. We can do that.
Thank you.
We can do that. And the same
for the rest of them.
From the rest of them. Okay.
Because as I look at this, we were about 4 or 5% under budget at the end of the year.
Oh.
Is that a fair statement?
Yeah.
Where you
Yeah.
see, because
Yeah.
that's at 94.6.
Yeah.
Or if you look down here, we're 123% over.
Yeah.
But you understand what
I do.
I'm not trying to beat this to the
No,
ground. I'm
but
just trying to-
I understand,
Thank you,
and
I
where,
appreciate your
and maybe
cooperation.
we should break it out in in totally different reports. Ones that are 80/20, and just give those to you, which,
That'd be great.
Why don't,
yeah, see,
why don't, if we can, why don't you get with her and decide what would make the most sense?
yeah, whatever you guys want, because we can break it out just to show the ones that are 80/20, the ones that are not, but we do want to show you the ones that we don't put any county dollars in, because we still spend a lot of time doing these things. So we want to show you that so that you have some idea how much money goes out of the county that is not
that's
county
important.
dollars. So that's why we have that in there. But we will rework that.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
Okay?
Good.
And then if you go to the next page, the allocations, that just shows, and those are, as you can see, around a fiscal year. And those show where we're at for the allocation and how much we spent and where we are year to date.
We're
those,
way under for
so yeah,
for
so those
Foster.
are pretty self-explanatory.
I understood that.
Yeah, okay. And then my community service block grant, that's totally, it's just a block grant. And then we just do this to show the monthly payments and then how many year to date and where we are on that.
And what are the current ones that we're funding?
I'm sorry?
Can you tell us the current ones that we're funding without breaching confidentiality?
Oh, no, I don't know. I mean, I'd have to look. I mean, we've done 16 payments on there, and I'd have to go back and see what they're for. We use this grant to do rent. We use it for utilities. We use it for appliances, and there's numerous things. But
Yeah, they met with Judah the illness
Oh, okay.
Friday, and
We
she
got a
went
crash
over-
course.
Yeah, and we only had $128.57 left, but we got 2,000 and something in January. So that will be showing up, so we've got some more money because we were out of money until that came in. And then the energy outreach, that's the next one. It just shows how many payments and where we are with the allocation. And there again, these have no county dollars attached to them. It's just all a grant, okay? And then the next one is just the ones that we do for the food assistance. It just shows you, it's got a chart here of how many, every month, the dollar amount that we spend. So you can just see on that. And same on the TFAB. That's the next one. Yep, and that's just what that shows. And the number of households we serve. Okay?
So how you doing?
Doing okay. It has slowed down a little bit. The November, December, and January are really, really super busy months with all of the healthcare stuff, people re-enrolling, the redeterminations that go on, leap starts. We do mass change for the COLAs for Social Security. Usually we have maybe 15 to 20 cases that don't update. This year it flipped, and we ended up with only 15 to 20 cases that updated. So we had to manually go in and do all of that. So we had a lot going on in those couple of months. And so now the enrollment is slowed down for the healthcare stuff. Our redeterminations are not as many because most of those were done in December and January. And so we're beginning to finally think we can get our heads above water now. So that's helpful. So that's where we are with that. And so...
Can I ask a few
Sure.
things? When you're getting ready to work on changing these, would you give me a call so I can get with you?
What I'll do, and what I can do is we can work on them, and then maybe we could even email them to you. How's that? And then you
And
can
I
look
could
at
turn
them.
around and go, makes good sense,
Yes, or not.
I'm still confused.
Right.
Perfect.
And then that way you can see them without not having to come in. And then if you got questions, you can come in or talk to us and say, I don't like that or whatever. That'd be perfect.
Wonderful. Thank you. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
you.
Okay. Anybody have anything else?
I've just been amazed at what we can offer as a county to our citizens.
Yeah, we try to do that, and we were talking about some services that just having the rotary van is a big help. A lot of counties don't even have that, and that's not a service we provide. But we help with it because of the Medicaid transportation. And by giving them funding, it helps them keep going by us doing the Medicaid transportation. And we spend a lot of time on Medicaid transportation, a lot of time. And so, as you can see, like this month, it was almost $2,000 that we paid out in Medicaid transportation. And that requires them coming in, telling us, this is the date I'm going, this is where I'm going, what doctor appointment. Then we have to type out a sheet that they have to take and have signed. And when they bring it back, we have to fill out this big form that we have to send in to Medicaid transportation for reimbursements. We have a stack like this every month. So we spend a lot of time on Medicaid transportation. But it helps Rotary and it helps them. So I don't know, we had somebody that lives down in Gardner coming to us and talking to us about Medicaid transportation. And I said, you need to go to Warfano County. And we said, just have them get you on and you can do Medicaid transportation. And they called me back and said, they don't do Medicaid transportation in Warfano County. Which I'm not sure I believe that, but if that's true, that's really not. Yeah. I will see the director in a couple of weeks, and so I'm going to ask her about that because I'm like, well, he's still going. So can't you help us? No, you live in Warfano County, you have to do it in Warfano County. But so that's not true, but whatever.
Excellent. Anything else?
Okay.
Thank you for
But
your report.
we'll work on that and we'll email them to you, Jay. That'll be
very
easy.
much.
That'll be
Thank you.
easier on all of us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Okay, we'll see you later.
Jim, I assume you might have something else.
No, did you send my report that you signed?
Oh.
I walked by here and left it here.
Well, in the meantime, just be patient.
No problem.
What is this proposal for commissioning services?
That's the underfunded courthouse grant. Do you want to explain it to him, or Jay? Remember Tom was talking about that at the meeting about the
But this is
energy
for the
audit?
Wetmore Community Center.
Yes.
Yes.
This is, I believe, the $3,000 for those automatic door openers. Is that what this
No.
is for? It's
No.
not?
Because we got a grant from DOLA. DOLA requires that there is an energy audit that's done at the end of the project, and they have given us a $5,000 budget in the grant to do that. And Tom took it upon himself to find a company and get a bid from them to do that work for us.
And that was $3,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then I have another one here.
They're both the same. It's just two different documents that go with that bid.
All right, I'm going to refer this to you for guidance.
Yeah, this is a necessity. This is something that must be done. We learned that when we were down at the last meeting. Tom assured us that this company, Retro Commissioning Analysis and Report, the company recommended is the least expensive and does a job that's satisfactory for our DOLA funding. I am unaware of any other alternatives that we can ask to do this. Tom is our principal architect and it's budgeted in the process, so I would like to make a motion that we accept his proposal to go ahead and spend the money to get this done because it's a necessity for the project.
Is there a second?
I'll make a second to the proposal that was stated.
Okay. Discussion. The question I have is do we have a minimum level for RFPs? And is this covered under the overall bid of the courthouse?
No, it's not the courthouse.
No, it's not the courthouse.
It's the Wetmore
This is
Community
what-
Center.
I mean, excuse me, the community center.
Okay, I can answer one and I can't answer the other. Yes, this is in the budget for the project. And what was the first question? I was thinking to myself,
Well,
I don't know the answer.
this is the only one we've got. I'm assuming, being that this is under the guidance of the general contractor.
That is correct. The general
But the
contractor.
general contractor is the one that makes the decision. And what we're doing here is just authorizing a decision. Is that a fair
Absolutely.
statement?
That is absolutely correct. The general contractor and the architect have said this is the best way to go.
So that wouldn't involve our county purchasing policy because it's a separate contract.
Absolutely. It's part of a contract we've already approved. It's just an adjunct to it. Another part that needs to be done.
And it's part of the grant proposal.
Yeah, but it's not, this is part of the Wetmore Community Building project that we've approved.
Correct.
Correct.
And as such, we approved the project and they have the authority on who they hired and so forth. So we have, all we're doing here is acknowledging that Tom is hiring this person.
Correct. We're ratifying his decision.
So there's no issues on us having 2 bids or 3 bids or anything because it's under the general contract.
Absolutely correct.
And it is 100% DOLA funded.
Yeah. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Let me sign this real quick for Tim.
Thanks for your patience.
No problem. I can do fax in the state right away and get it off.
I think we should have Meals on Wheels.
All right. Do we have anything else that we need to talk about right now?
No.
Commissioner?
No, sir. I think we've said it all.
Nothing else on here. I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make the motion. What?
No.
What?
I don't think you can adjourn. I think you have to recess, go into your executive session at
you're
1,
entirely
and
right.
then after that's
Do
done,
I
then
hear a
you can
motion
adjourn.
to go into recess of the county commissioner meeting at 12:40 p.m. and to reconvene at 1 o'clock?
I'll make the motion
I'll
as
second
stated.
it. All in favor say aye.
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 Motion carried.
Thank you
So
for
when you're doing
keeping us
interviews,
straight
right?
there, young
Pardon
lady.
me?
I try.
When you're doing interviews, is
Yes.
that
Yes,
correct?
and that will be in executive.
Yes.
I am so not gonna come for that, okay?
Ready.
I will reconvene the Board of County Commissioners on January the 7th, 2017 at 4:08 p.m. I attest that I'm the chairman of the Custer County Board of Commissioners and confirm that the discussion remained on topic and that no matters were adopted and no actions or decisions were made.
As the county attorney, I'll confirm that the purpose of the executive session was to interview applicants. No decisions were made.
Okay, do we wish to amend the agenda at this time? Or for any other business when you come before the board?
Clint,
Yeah.
the question I asked you yesterday afternoon about the audio, can we bring that up now, or does that need to be on a?
I think we should do it either tomorrow or we can do it under old business, but I don't think it's something we should talk about right now.
Okay.
I have a point of order, Mr. Chairman. Could you just explain to us the procedure on when we will vote for the new road supervisor and how the information will be conveyed to that person?
Okay, that was the reason I asked if there were any additions to the agenda, because at this time, if we wanted to, we could add that as an item and take action. And then we'll have to visit with Donna, whether we all three go out, I go out, or she notifies them. I don't know what the official protocol is in this case.
The other thing that we haven't talked about is salary.
Well, and that I think is we bring the person in.
Ha! You got stuck in.
But we need to have some parameters.
Does that answer the?
It does, thank you.
And what would be the pleasure of you two?
I'm fine. Well, do we want to do without having the salary question answered? We could, at your leisure, Mr. Chairman, we could vote on who we would select, and then we could work with HR to determine what should the salary be. Or we could wait and do it all at once. Your decision.
I don't think I have that salary survey.
No, you know I do.
Good.
Of course.
Good. Well, I think it's in this pile somewhere.
Where we're looking at, as I recall, is somewhere in a range of about 45,000. I think where we are, we need to start it at a reasonable range that allows us a chance to get the raise at the end of 6 months and then advance as we perform it.
Concur.
Donna?
All right, you're not going to eat them all. I'm going to eat them.
Thank goodness.
Look, he saved you.
My diabetes is going ka-dunk, ka-dunk, ka-dunk.
That's the one I wanted. See, he did that to me earlier.
As we looked at a salary schedule, we have road boss, 2 supervisors, a mechanic. And who am I forgetting? We had 5 people that are making over 50,000.
Wait, I have it.
Yeah, I think
I have it.
because I brought only the
Here you go.
inner pile.
We have Roger, Byron Rice, Rusty Christensen, Larry Haynes, and Kevin Day are all over 50,000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Can I see the survey, please?
And actually, I have a question. Did we ever ascertain if the road and bridge assistant supervisor was indeed that, or was the interim, or none of the above, or both?
Indeed what? At the salary? Or the...
No, for,
I think-
he was appointed. You know, what the
Oh.
sheet said, but then I was told that...
I think where we are, Donna, on this is that, I'm not sure what the tape actually said, but I think when we approved the minutes that reflected him, I believe that then become the official act. Am I correct, Counselor?
Yes.
So he
And he
is.
As the
He
assistant
is,
supervisor.
yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's the way I read it.
Well, that's what I read as well,
Yeah.
but then I'd heard that that had been only...
Well, see, on the, I didn't go back to the actual minutes, I mean, to the tape, because I don't think, I don't know what we would do. We'd have to amend the minutes or something, that it's already been approved.
It would be a mess to try to go back and undo it.
And at the same time, that is a position that serves at the pleasure of the board. I'm thinking that maybe this doesn't make sense, but I think it might be reasonable if when we hire the road boss, that he has a period of time to work with the assistant and see if it's going to work or not. And if it isn't going to work, well, then we'll have to make a change.
Can I ask a question about that? Have we determined what we're going to do about the personnel issue with the truck and the authorization to pull it out? Is that resolved now, or are we still going to discuss it?
I thought we resolved it just with the...
Oh, I thought he was going to come sit in front
Yeah,
of
I
us.
thought he was coming here too.
Yeah, and then we were going to make whatever decision
Right.
we're going to make.
Yeah, and I couldn't figure out which
We were going to have to go into
okay.
executive
and then we
session.
had another one, and because I actually asked Brenda who was up when she called me.
That's
We
great.
were putting that off until after you made this decision, so it wouldn't reflect
This
on him.
decision.
Exactly, correct. Thank you. Okay, so let's make this decision when we're ready, and then we can handle the other issue in executive session separately. Would that sound reasonable to you two?
Sure. So what do you want to do this afternoon?
Well, what I did was, looking at the survey, the road and bridge foreman is the best I can come up with, and that was about $21 an hour on an annual basis based on 2080. That comes out to $43,650 on an annual type basis when I did the math. I'm fine with that.
And that's right around 45.
That's
kind
fine,
of a
45,
ballpark
43.
figure.
I mean, we're close enough.
Oh.
And I concur with what you said, Mr. Chairman, that we're putting a person in a new position. It may or may not work out. If it works out really well, then we would have some room to do something about moving him a little further. Does that sound reasonable to
Wait a
you,
minute,
Ms. Holly?
what do you mean a new position?
I'm sorry?
Why is it a new position?
For him. We don't know,
Oh.
he hasn't been tested with us
Well,
in that position. It may
we
turn out to
should
be
have
terrible.
and I have to pull the policy, but isn't there's an introductory period of
Yeah,
about 6 months.
Right, and I think the job description says a probationary
Yes.
period on
6
that
months
as
it
well.
does. I read it many
Yes,
times.
yes. But it shouldn't be probation. We have to change
I
the
know.
wording. It's an introductory period.
Right. It's okay. Stickler. No,
Well-
I'm teasing.
I
Just
guess.
slap happy.
But if you're hired on a probationary basis.
It's not politically correct
No.
anymore.
It's not.
It's not what.
It's
Not
not.
politically correct
yeah.
anymore to say
You can't use
put 'em on
probation.
probation.
It's-
It doesn't sound-
Okay.
It's an introductory
Yeah,
period.
people getting out of jail are on
Yes.
probation. Would you entertain a motion at this time?
Libby, are you too comfortable making a decision at this time?
I think I am. I don't know about you guys.
If we do, it needs to remain, then we bring him in tomorrow. And we've got an executive session, or is it just a workshop tomorrow? Well, we've got an
We have
executive session.
workshop afterwards.
Would it be appropriate to bring you in tomorrow in the executive session and negotiate the salary? Because that has to occur before we can hire him.
Right.
And if we can't reach an agreement, then we haven't embarrassed the other two, so that they know that they weren't the top candidate.
I'm good with that if that's what you would like to do.
What do you think? You've been through personnel a lot.
For me, this is a time to establish the tiers that we were talking about to begin with.
I don't agree.
You don't agree?
I think whoever we hire, if they want to bring it back to us, let them work on it. I think that should be their recommendation to us, and then we can work on it. I think we need to hire the road supervisor and then work the rest of the details out. Of course, with his salary, but I think
Well,
the
I'm
tiers-
just talking about their salary. I'm not talking about.
Oh, I thought you were talking
no,
about that
I meant like
six-tier group that he was talking about.
that, but this person coming into this position, okay, we should look at it, and maybe it's not the right time to look at it, but
Okay,
our
but
whole
I'll follow.
evaluation. needs to
maybe
be
the
done.
best way to handle this would be to invite him back tomorrow morning. We reach the decision, we reach the salary agreement or disagreement, and at that time we vote. We come out of executive session and vote. That way we don't have something dangling out here on the
I don't disagree.
clothesline.
Is the salary, is that an open session issue? I mean, we don't discuss salaries in open session, do we?
That would be
Yes,
negotiating with them. I mean, you can
we can
do a
negotiate.
motion right now saying, subject to agreeing on a salary, that you want to offer it to him and then get him in and talk to him privately in executive session and negotiate the salary. And if it's acceptable, then you finalize it.
Or we can ask him to come in the morning and talk to him, so we can reach an agreement on salary and reach a
Whatever
agreement.
your pleasure is,
I mean,
guys.
I'm
fine.
okay with the figure that you both discussed. I guess I'm just trying to look long term. That's where I am.
And I think, as we've talked from a county cash flow budget issue, we're all right.
Yes, absolutely. That's not an issue.
All right, what's your pleasure?
I just need to verify this. So we need to do this in an open session?
Need a hire.
We can adjourn right now.
You can adjourn right now, and you can have him come back tomorrow for an executive session and offer it to him. I mean, find out if he's willing to accept it at that salary, and then you can come back
Come
into
back
open
out
session.
in open session and
Finalize
finalize it.
Let's do that. That makes sense. Let's do that.
So what time do you want him to come back tomorrow?
Aren't we
Take
back
him
on
out
the
of his
floor at
job.
9 o'clock?
What?
We're back on the floor at 9 o'clock.
Well, why don't we get him in here at 9 o'clock and we go into executive session for 10 or 15 minutes, not to open, and then just move on. Does that make sense? It's up to you.
Let me look at, I lost
See,
my
I've never done,
agenda.
I mean, it's just never, I just called them on the phone when I left
But
here.
we have a salary issue.
You can call them and tell them that.
You can call him anybody in the morning.
And so 9 o'clock, so then they'll just be out on the road.
I would-
So yeah, it's cool. I'm good.
I would say 9:15. We will call to order. We have the Pledge of Allegiance. We have a roll call. We set the agenda. And then we could talk to him.
Fine.
Or introduce the audience, the commissioner items, and then talk to him. Because we have the executive session scheduled after the agenda items.
Can I just make a comment? I really appreciate the way you're doing the Pledge of Allegiance, calling on different people. I would be fine if you want to call people in the audience to do it also. I think we're all Americans, and I appreciate the way you're handling that.
Well, first, I make sure they don't.
Sir?
First, I make sure they know.
They
didn't even know the first two words.
I pledge. That's all you need to know.
All right, I declare the meeting adjourned.
Second.
Thank you, Clint. I know you felt like hell today, but thank you for sticking it out with us. Donna?
Donna, thank you.
Thank you.